Yes, guys, you know what time it is. It's your boy David at the Irish Hotspur, Ireland's #1 Spurs fan. And next up for Tottenham is a daunting trip to the Etihad as we take on Man City and desperately look to avoid a fourth straight Premier League defeat on the bounce. And is the first of 4 straight road fixtures over the next week and a half for Tottenham Hotspur. And here to get through and dissect everything, we are joined by co-host Jack Kanicki, Sean from Spurs Talk Show, and James from Spurs Relate. We'll start with Jack. Jack, how are you keeping, my man?
Feeling pretty good, Dave. Well rested for this one. But to be honest, you kind of wanted this weekend to be a rebound, for the boys, to be a good opportunity, to kind of maybe recover all of that terrible, kind of dross that we saw from the previous performances. But with Man City coming up, I guess you're just like, well, free hit. And if the boys somehow surprise us, then, we'll be singing from the rooftops, Dave. So, to a degree, it's a free hit. And sometimes when you get that free hit right, there's nothing better.
No, 100%. And look, everything is stacked against us there. It wouldn't surprise me to see Spurs put out a performance. It really wouldn't. But Sean, what day is it, my man? Tell me, what day is it?
It's game day! Mate, love it. Oh, wait, it doesn't matter who you're playing. Doesn't matter who you're playing. When you wake up and you know that in some point in the next 12 hours, the mighty Lily Whites are going to be out strutting their stuff. It's always a day to smile. We'll deal with whatever happens later, but right now it's time to get popped up!
No, for sure. It definitely is. It definitely is. And James, my man, how are things?
Yeah, all good, guys. All good. Always a pleasure to be on these pre-match pump-ups and hopefully turn some of this negativity that might be burning through this game into positivity. I mean, Sean's already started things off nicely. And I thought, actually, Dave, you were going to say we're trying to avoid our 4-0 defeat, but you actually say 4th straight defeat. So I was wondering where you were going with that one. But, yeah, you're probably more likely to... let's not even get into the pessimistic stuff yet. Let's stay positive to start things off. But yeah, looking forward to it, my man.
No, 100%. Look, it doesn't matter who we're playing. I can't wait. I live for these big games. I absolutely love them. But look, let's see what Harris Army in the building with us. We have Philip Brady. He says that poster issued by the Premier League is an absolute disgrace. Yeah. Confirms the agenda against Spurs and should be withdrawn immediately. Philip, send that on to me. I didn't catch that. Send it on to me, my man.
It's outrageous. It's outrageous.
Big up, Mr. Brady. What an absolute legend. And really enjoyed meeting you as well going over for the game, my man. It was an absolute pleasure
Met the
to be able
Godfather.
to go over with you. He's a true Spurs fan, Philip is. Welsh Gal is in the house. She says, afternoon, Harris Army and the Flatcappers. Hoping for the best, but braced for a kicking. Big up to David. Morning, Jack.
Big up, Welsh Gal. Absolute legend.
Big yourself up, Welsh Gal. We have Wembley Woman. He says, afternoon, guys. So do we all have sofas large enough to hide behind for later on? Looking on the bright side, though, in 6 hours' time, it will all be over.
I love that, Wembley. I love that.
What a legend. Aaron Miguel Escobardo's in the house. He says, hello, fam. Come on, you Harris Army. Come on, you Flat Cap Army. And he also says, big up. Davide and Jacko. Big up, my man. Yeah, Dark Sun G is in the house. Good to see you, Dark Sun G. Got a good few questions in there for Sonny later on. I definitely want you to be engaging with my man. He says, come on, you Spurs. Hope for a 1-1 draw or a 2-1 win today. And a Sun goal. Look, Sonny, I think, will be the man that we should be looking for today. And I'll get into that a bit later on, Dark Sun G. But loving it. Absolutely loving it. He's picking a result no matter what. You got to love that. Niall Wood is in the house this afternoon, lads. Still call us here. He says, come on, you Spurs. Spaghetti Slayer says, if we somehow win today, top 4 is still on. Hopefully they get a man sent off early. Look, even if we don't win, it's still not out of possibility. Still not beyond the realms of possibility. Cody Mack says, what will your reaction be if we play a 3-4-3? Come on, you Spurs. Cody, do you know what? So I was sitting here prepping for this late last night. I was putting things together. And when I was putting it together, I was sitting there. I was banking on it being a 3-5-2, and it very well could be. But you can't leave Lucas out of this game. And I'm going to explain a little bit later on. I have a bit of a stat on this guy, Cody, but you cannot leave Lucas out of the game for what he actually does offer us defensively. So It really wouldn't surprise me if we did go 3-4-3 today, just to keep Lucas in there, Cody.
True.
Pick yourself up,
he made Jack Grealish look absolutely useless on his debut, So, actually, good point, Dave.
No, honestly, some of the stats I have for this are mind-blowing. William Pretty says, come on, you Spurs. I would love to see a 3-5-2, but I don't think we will win, but maybe a 1-1 draw. I would take 100%. I'd snap your hand off for it. Now, Sean, you were saying that last night at the back end of your stream, would snap our hand off for a point now. Anthony Gray says, I was expecting us to win those last 2 home games and lose this away City match. As we lost the last 2 home games, maybe it'll turn out we'll get something from this match after all. Come on, you Spurs. No, 100%, Anthony. Big yourself up, man. Alfie Goslin's in the house. Hi, guys. Hope all is well. I think it would be our luck to gain or to go and win. But saying that, I am not confident. But with a shithouse 1-0 Tottenham Kane goal, come on, you Spurs. Come on, you flat cap army. Come on, you Spurs.
Just a nice, 80th minute penalty or something like that, Dave. That just sounds spectacular. It's
we're definitely going to have to shithouse ourselves to a win for sure.
Shit ourselves again, Dave. I thought, what are you going on about there again, mate? I'm shitting myself for the game. I can't lie.
I meant shithouse. Leandro's in the house. He says, Conte out now. Big up. Big Soul says, big up, lads and ladies. I will watch to cheer the boys who give their all. No mind the score. Come on, you Spurs. Absolutely love that old soul. I love it, my man.
Come on.
Big yourself up. Dark Sun G says, Brighton match in between Man U West Ham fixture. Why? I had a feeling that one of the matches would be rescheduled then. For your information, 2:30 a.m. kickoff today. Not too bad. No, it's not. It's slightly earlier for you, Dark Sun G. Not great, but it's not too bad. You definitely got outside of the. You definitely got out the right side of the bed today. You're feeling very positive today, Dark Sun G. Jack, what would you say to him?
I mean, he's Dark Sun G. Not only is he quicker than me, Dave, when it comes to the stats and when it comes to memorizing things, when it comes to goals and moments and Spurs, he's just better than me. But also, if a 2:30 a.m. game for him is actually better, the guy's he's a machine, Dave. He's a machine because 2:30 a.m. I mean, that would probably be my worst time because I already go to bed pretty early as it is. To have to wake up at that time or even have to stay up that late, I don't know, Dave. Some people. They're just not everybody's made like Dark Sun G, Dave. Not everybody's made like Dark Sun G. But what I can say is Brighton being kind of put in between those sort of matches, Dave, it just makes the schedule really, really tough. You might say out of all the teams really competing from top 4, you would say our kind of upcoming games do look a lot tougher than theirs. So we'll see how Spurs handle it, Dark Sun G.
Listen, Dark Sun G, at the end of the day, mate, you can be in bed by 3 a.m. and asleep because it's probably going to be 4-0 in 30 minutes. So,
I'll have none of that talk around here, James. None of that.
Put the bed behind the couch. Put the bed behind the couch.
Yeah, exactly.
James, you were demanding positivity on your show last night.
Listen,
you've been on Dave's and Jack's channel for 5 minutes.
Sean's calling out, switching the narrative.
Listen, Sean, you got to pump me up. That's the idea here. Come on.
Wow. Okay.
Big up, Dark Sun G, my man. I really do appreciate the support, brother. Really do. Rico says, my arse is burning. Can't wait for this match to finish already.
Does it say burning or does it say bumming?
I thought it said something else, Dave, but I mean, maybe I'm not on the strong stuff yet,
Oh, maybe it did. On your bike, Scott says, big up, boys. Let's hope we can nick a draw. Come on, you Spurs. Big yourself up. The Bertie 1008 says, big up the Harris Army and panel. We need to be positive. 2-1 Spurs. Come on, you Spurs.
Come on, Bertie.
Come on.
Nasco 25. Hello, amigos. How are we feeling about the match today? Come on, you Spurs. Let's get the sombreros out and hopefully celebrate a win today. Mama Monty, big yourself up, Mama Monty. Exactly.
Vamos a los Spurs. Vamos a los Spurs. Come on, Nosco. Come on, Nosco. Good to see you. Buenos dias.
It's great to see you. Bobby K says, good morning, fellas. Come on, you Spurs. Big up, panel. Remember my words, 2-1 Spurs, but Lloris making 33 saves.
That's what he said yesterday. Yeah, unbelievable. Unbelievable.
Big up,
absolute worldie. Yeah.
Tapiwa Mujera says expected loss again. Yeah, probably, but we'll wait and see. You never know with Tottenham. This is the exciting thing about supporting Tottenham. You just never know. Derek Hutchinson says, good afternoon, David, Jack, Sean, and James. Let's smash City. Come on, you Spurs. Love it. NJ123, love you guys. Always cheer me up. Come on, you Spurs. Big yourself up. We'll take a few more and then we will get into it. Paul Mansbridge says, guys, Flat Cap Army, big yourself up, my man. Michael Bennett's in the house. He says, afternoon, lads. My head says we will get turned over today, but this Spurs heart of mine is telling me that we will get something out of the game today. Come on, you Spurs. That's what I'm talking about, lad. Nick Fatty says, Irish always looks... No, man. Honestly, I was up late last night and I'm just out of bed. Not too long out of bed, my man. Joseph says, big up, David, Jack, and the gang. It's a free hit today. just going to eat pizza, relax, watch us while praying, watch the boxing, pig you all up.
Yeah.
And I'm praying for at least a performance to build on. Come on, you Spurs. Joseph, let me know who you're up for today. Is it Brooke or Khan? Let me know. Val Taylor says, hello, guys. Give us a tune, Sean. They want the tune on the out guitar. We'll actually have to get him to do that one day. We really will. Sean Curran says, I tell you, when we win a trophy, Sean will have to sit here and give us a song. Sean Curran says, we live in hope. It's hope that kills you, though. But 2-1 Spurs anyways.
Love it, Sean.
Big yourself up, my man. And then we have, who else have we got here? Adam Phillip is in the house. He says it's either going to be a 1-0 smash and grab or we're going to get hit for 5 or 6. Yeah, 100%. Odessa is in the house, says, come on, lads, let's have a content masterclass, Liverpool fan with everything crossed. You're definitely up for us today, that's for sure. Because, you know, I know you're 9 points behind, but you have a game in hand. So if we take anything off them today and you capitalize, you bring yourself right back into that title race. And Big Boss Man says, I've just come back from the future. Turns out Spurs win 3-2 and Son of the Stormer. Big up, Big Boss Man. Love that.
Nice.
To be fair, Dave, it actually makes sense because he always comes in, you know, every single time with a big woo, you know, and it's just because he just come back from the future, you know, Dave. So he's just, you know, it's his time travel, you know, sort of noise when he gets through. So Big Boss Man, good to have you back in here. Always good to see him, especially game day. He's always here.
No, what a legend, Big Boss Man. But look, I'm going to tell everybody everything you need to know. Of course, we are away at the Etihad Stadium, aka the Library. Kickoff is at 5:30 p.m. The referee is Anthony Taylor. In the VAR room, it's Darren England. If you want to watch the game in the USA, it's on NBC Sports. In Canada, it's on DAZN. And in UK and Ireland, it's on Sky Sports. The watch along for here will start again, or will start at 5:15. So everybody do get back here for that. If you want more of this, follow me over on We Are Tottenham TV from 4 o'clock onwards for the pre-match pump-up. Tottenham, just a few stats. Tottenham are looking to avoid losing 4 successive Premier League games for the first time since a run of 6 defeats between October and November 2004. And we have conceded 9 goals in our past 4 league matches, 3 more than they did in their first 9 under Antonio Conte. We are looking to secure the first league double over the reigning top flight champions since 86-87 when we beat Liverpool 1-0 home and away. All 8 Spurs Premier League defeats this season have been in London, 4 at home and 4 away. So we haven't lost outside of London, which is a good omen. They have scored we have only just scored 10 goals in 10 league fixtures, 10 away league fixtures this season. But here's one for the Sonny fans out there. Son has scored 6 goals in his 8 most recent appearances against Man City across all competitions. So we need to be finding Sonny today. However, Spurs have won 3 of the past 4 meetings as well, which is as many as we did in our previous 13 attempts. But all of these victories have been at our home stadium. Harry Kane has failed to score in 9 appearances in all competitions versus Man City since Pep Guardiola took over. So I wouldn't be putting any money on Kane to score today. And Kane's record of a goal every 473 minutes versus Man City is his worst of the 30 teams he has scored against in the Premier League.
Wow.
And he's just scored 2 in 11 games versus City.
Interesting.
For Man City, City have earned 43 points from 45 available in the Premier League since losing to Crystal Palace in October. The aggregate score in those matches is 48. They've scored 41 goals and only conceded 8. They've won all 19 league games this season in which they scored the opening goal. So we cannot let them get that first goal. City have scored 98 goals in 37 competitive fixtures in 21-22. It took them until their 45th game of last season to reach a century of goals. So they're absolutely flying this season. Guardiola's side have the best defensive record in the division, conceding just 14 goals. Riyad Mahrez has scored 9 goals in his last 9 appearances for City, and City's only loss in their last 12 home games against Tottenham in all competitions was a 2-1 league defeat in February 2016. So that's all the stats.
You're telling me there's a chance?
There's a chance. Look, we don't concede first, lad. There's a chance. Team news. Oliver Skip, he's still out. Japhet Tanganga is out. There was a mention of an unknown player out with some COVID complications, so we're not sure who that is. I'm hearing it was Reguilon. Not 100% sure if that's true or not, but we'll wait and see. and Eric Dier returns to the lineup and has some good stats for that guy. For Man City, though, they are missing Jack Grealish, Gabriel Jesus, and Cole Palmer, but Kyle Walker is expected to return today. But there you have it, guys. There's absolutely everything everybody needs to know. So look, we'll start dishing out the questions. And I'll pass the first one over to Shawnee. Shawnee, Tottenham occupy 8th position, 7 points behind 4th place Man United. Should we just forget about the pressures of top 4 and just take each game as they come now?
Yeah. I thought you were going to say, should we forget about top 4? Absolutely not. Right. I think that there's 6 teams, 7 teams that are all within a chance of getting there. Mathematically, it's still more than possible. There's still 40% of the season to go. But to your point, I think we should just start. We have to start again. Right? We were on the back of a terrible run, a terrible bit of form across the board, and we need to find a new baseline of which to build off of. And I think today's going to be a really tough day. But generally speaking, you should always just take one game as it comes, one fight as it comes as a boxer. If you set your eyes too far ahead of you, then you forget where you are right now and what's in front. And so, we shouldn't be forgetting about top 4. Like, we shouldn't be writing it off, because there's every team we're competing with is capable of dropping points against silly opposition. And the teams that we've lost to recently, we probably as a fan base underestimated how good they are, because they have come on leaps and bounds themselves. And you've seen those teams taking points from teams that are just as strong or just as much in the race for us. So I think that we should forget about top 4 as a target. Keep it. We're still in the race, but just one day at a time, one game at a time, one training session at a time, and put one foot in front of the other. Like the journey of 1,000 miles starts with a single step, right? So that's where we should. That's how I feel about it.
I like that. And look, Shawnee, are you confident? Are you feeling confident ahead of today's game, man?
I think the only way, for me, and I'm sure this is probably something I should say for if there's other questions, but I think that the only way, like, we're going to have to expect to be on the back foot. They're going to have 70% plus possession throughout the game. The only way that I think that we can get something from the game is obviously you're going to need a worldie from Hugo Lloris. He's going to be busy, right? So you're going to need him to. If he starts flapping at balls again, then it's going to be a disaster. But in terms of like outfield, I think the only way you can really do it is you either pick a Lucas Moura and like a Sonny to go up top in a 2 and ask Harry Kane to play like an artificial 8 and do the job that Harry Winks doesn't do. He's a better passer. He can get busy and hustle and bustle as well. And then try and, when we get the ball, pivot on counter-attacks and take advantage, and you have to be clinical. Or, that's basically it. Or you ask Lucas Moura to fill into that kind of 10 role and then try and draw fouls early. Try and get a couple of yellow cards against their midfielders that will change the dynamic of the game, similar to what happened in the Carabao Cup final. I'm sure I've gone into too much detail for the question. No. Am I confident? Yeah. I'm confident we can get something out of the game. Is it likely? No. But I'm still confident because I'm deluded.
Hang on, Sean. No. Hang on, Sean. Because you called me out and said I was being negative. And about 2 minutes ago, I recorded it. I've got it written down, actually. You said something along the lines of, wow, you guys are really confident, or something like that. So, I mean...
You're telling me there's a chance, is what I said.
Well, look, Jamesy, Man City took Sporting Lisbon apart on Tuesday and in insane form, winning 14 of the past 15 league matches and suffering only 2 losses the entire season, with one being the upset to us in the season opener. We are well and truly up against it there, aren't we, lad?
No, I think we're fine. No, without getting off my soapbox, right? I think we are in trouble today. I think it's the best team City have had since they've been taken over. I really do. Like, maybe you could argue maybe that 2013 season where they had sort of like Yaya Toure, David Silva, those kind of gems in there. It was unbelievable. But collectively at the moment, because City have always had defensive problems. They've always had defensive problems. Now you look at that back 4, Cancelo, bang. Walker, bang. Diaz, bang. Laporte, bang. They are all 4 world-class players at the top of their game at the moment. That's what I worry about. It's not just that free-flowing football with, Bernardo Silva, Mahrez, like just absolute gravy. Like, it really is that defense as well. And they're probably their best keeper since Joe Hart, let's be honest, as well. Edison, top-class keeper. So it's just a collective team. I think Pep would say it's his strongest team he's had there. And just this strength and depth, like it's just ridiculous. We're turning to like Kulusevski as our main one off the bench. They're turning to whoever they don't start out of Sterling, Mahrez, Bernardo Silva, Gundogan. I mean, the list goes on. It's just ridiculous. But yeah, I think we're going to win.
Thanks for making me feel so much better about today's game, James. Thank you. I really appreciate that. Maybe we'll try Jack. We'll probe Jack here. Jack, there is a massive pattern emerging, and you're going to love this one, my man, of City being vulnerable after 13 knockout games where the tie was realistic, or being vulnerable after European nights after 13 knockout games where the tie was realistically in the balance. They have lost on 5 occasions in the next domestic match. To Leeds, they lost 2-1. Chelsea 1-0. Chelsea again 2-1. Wigan 1-0. And Man United 3-2. They have conceded a goal in 10 of those 13 encounters. 2, of course, there does seem a drop-off in levels after a big midweek effort in Europe. Could this be a game for Spurs to catch them cold? And is it a great time to play them?
I wish Sporting maybe gave them a better game, Dave, because to be honest, it was a bit of a cakewalk for them. And what was it, 4-0 or something like that by halftime? So they were not really sweating, probably very much that match. And if only Sporting had given them a better game, you'd probably really believe that stat, Dave. To be fair, I'd actually probably believe that's true. You probably could make that argument that Man City maybe do kind of sleepwalk, perhaps maybe into games after, kind of Champions League nights. But with how easy that Sporting match was for them, Dave, I'm not sure if we're going to be so lucky maybe this time. And all I can say is that Man City, they are a team that I've heard kind of described by a lot of people as like that team. If you do kind of punch first, Dave, if you do kind of punch them in the mouth, they do actually get a bit rattled. They actually can get turned over if you are kind of the one to maybe stand your ground first. They do try to bully you. They basically try to choke you out of the game, basically make football not fun for you. But if you do kind of punch first, if you do kind of catch them off guard, they don't really respond actually very well. We've seen that lots of times where even in Champions League nights to Premier League nights for them, where if they go like 1-0 down, they don't really find the equalizer very quickly. It sometimes takes them a long time to really get settled into the game. So maybe, Dave, the most important thing is for Spurs perhaps to get ahead first. And then you kind of, rattle the Man City cage, and hopefully the library wakes up a bit, Dave, and, maybe we actually have a game on our hands.
I hope so, Jack. I really do, my man. Absolute brilliant answer. Shawnee, against Wolves, we were 2-0 down after 18 minutes. Do you think we'll bring some fight and passion to this game, or do you think we'll fall quickly?
Oh, it's a tough one. It's so difficult to know what Tottenham are going to turn up. It's a great question, Dave. You hope that Tottenham are going to turn up today and just go for it. It also depends on the formation, the strategy that Conte is deciding with, and there's so many options. I'm guessing we're going to talk about them. There are options of what we go with today. We could go all out. We could go more defensive. We could hold back, and who knows? We'll find out after this show, but before the game starts. But I think that you have to remember against Wolves, to go 2-0 down, that was essentially, whilst it was poor team defending, there were 2 individual errors from our goalkeeper, who none of us have a problem with. He's usually so reliable. But, when you have 2 individual errors so early in a game against a team who has the second best defensive record in the Premiership, it's always going to be an uphill battle to come back into it. And we did try. We did try to get back into the game. And there were chances, to make things happen. So I hope that it doesn't happen today. All you can hope for really is that every single player that's on the pitch does their job to the best of their ability, and that there's no absolute chaotic individual errors, especially in key positions. If Harry Kane misses a goal chance, gilt edge chance, okay, that's going to be a disaster. But if Hugo Lloris goes flapping for corners because he's a little bit nervous and he needs to come back fighting and put in a worldie today, and you need, obviously, with Eric Dier back, hopefully we've got our first choice defense, or at least our first choice back 3 in, and hopefully there's a bit more settled kind of stability there, which will hopefully put us in the right direction. But yeah, to answer your question, we do need to start better than Wolves. But yeah, I think it just comes down to making sure that everyone's as good as they can be, and then we hope that Man City have some players that are having an off day or take us for granted or whatever, and then we'll probably got a fighting chance, at least, a boxer's chance of getting something out of the game.
I love that. I love that. Gabe Butzek says, Yid Army, Yid Army, Yid Army. Big yourself up, my man. I hope you're keeping well. Really do appreciate the support. I forgot to actually say, everybody, make sure you do smash that like button. Make sure you do smash that subscribe button as well. And feel free to get your super chats in, guys. Always lead to great talking points for the panel. And it is a great way to show your support for myself and Jack on this YouTube journey. And, you know, we'll always sit there and give it a good discussion as well on your thoughts. But don't feel like this channel isn't for you if you're not in a position to do it, because we know it is a big, bad world out there. So just still get your comments in, and we will keep getting them up on screen, everybody. But look, you know, James, we have lost 3 on the bounce. Do you think we will see a reaction today?
I think we have to. I think Conte will be absolutely drilling into the players, making them watch all the videotapes back of all the mistakes against Wolves, including the 5 men chilling on the edge of the box for that second goal. He'll be absolutely going nuts in training, and I think he has to see a reaction today. I mean, the guy's looking slightly ill at the moment in press conferences, Conte. I'm starting to worry a little bit about him. It's like that. It's like the Mourinho effect as well. He came in, was offering about the comfy duvets in the hotel, you know, and then 2 months down the line, Mourinho looked like he needed some help.
It's like the presidency, or something. It's like the presidency.
Yeah.
You know, you age quickly as a Spurs man.
Yeah. It's gonna be like it's like a 5 times multiplier. Yeah.
Yes, Jack.
People have started noticing like Conte's hairline starting to like really go at the top and stuff like this. So yeah, poor guy. All my thoughts are with Conte today, because if those players do him in, then I think he's going to be on the strong stuff tonight as well. But no, I think we have to see a reaction, Dave. I really do. And I think, like I said, they're going to be analysing that Man City team inside out. They're going to be really analysing who they need to go sort of double mark in some respects. Where I know it's so hard. Like, who is it at the moment that's best? Sterling, Bernardo Silva, or Mahrez? Like, they're all on fire, aren't they?
Yeah.
But I just think we have to start strong, like Sean said. We can't mess around. They're going to have more possession. There's no secret. Like, there's not even going to be betting taken on that. Like, Man City will have more possession, but we have to do well with our possession. We have it and give it away willy-nilly by booting out the pitch, cough Ben Davies, and just literally just be composed with the passing. And I think we have to go 3 in midfield. I think we'll come to that in a minute.
Yeah. No, we will. We'll get to that shortly. Jacko, all the Spurs victories over Man City in recent seasons have come at home, and it has been 6 years since our last win at the Etihad Stadium, taking us back to February of 2016. Are we huge underdogs today? But Jack, do you think we will thrive being underdogs today? Because in recent weeks we have struggled when we have been the favorites to win.
Yeah, that's actually, maybe the whole ethos, it feels like, with this recent Spurs squad, Dave, is that we seem to sometimes win the games that we least expect. We seem to, somehow put up good performances against the teams that we kind of just think are a free hit, against teams that we kind of think we're just going to get, rolled over by. But the teams that we kind of do expect us to get points, the teams that we feel like in order for us to be taken seriously, we need to kind of make those sort of games like Southampton and Wolves easy. And yet we don't. It's actually, I don't know, Dave, but we're almost the opposite every single time of what we probably do expect with Spurs. So perhaps, we do kind of thrive on that underdog mentality. Perhaps a lot of the players even, thrive on it. Maybe, I don't know, Dave, maybe Harry Winks and players like that perhaps actually do better with it. If they, are a bit scared of the opposition, if they're a bit intimidated by the opposition, perhaps they play a bit better. I mean, it could be the case. It seems like they really do, step up against teams, maybe bar Chelsea, when it is kind of a bigger team coming up against us. So perhaps this is maybe the game, Dave, where, they just prove everyone wrong and kind of show that maybe they do stand up against the bigger teams, but perhaps maybe the smaller clubs, the games that we should win, we just seem to be struggling with.
That's a good point. And sorry, can I just make one small point on that?
The whole definition of being of Spurs, I would say the last 2 seasons, it feels like, James, we lose the easy games and we somehow get something out of the games. We
surprise on both sides, right? We disappoint when we shouldn't, and we
surprise on both sides, exactly.
But not only that, Guardiola was asked in his interview in midweek. Obviously, it's all mind games, as we know, with the managers. But he was asked, "Are Tottenham going to be a threat on Saturday because they're coming off the back of 3 league losses in a row?" And he straight away went, definitely. And so that proves that he's going to know that Conte will not want that record on his slate. So Guardiola's going to know that we're not going to be taking any prisoners today. Well, we shouldn't be. But,
James, just quickly, because I didn't hear it the first time, can you do your impression of Pep Guardiola again one more time for me? Definitely.
Yeah, I think we'll leave that one for later, honestly, when I'm maybe taking a piss out of him when they're beating us. But no, yeah, I'm not going to be doing that anytime soon. Thanks, Sean. I'll make sure I keep it on my normal voice next time. I'm trying to be funny. Yeah.
Appreciate
Thanks,
that.
Sean. Thanks.
Val Taylor says, "Are you doing a watch along, Dave?" We are. We're doing one at 5:15. So we are. So make sure you get in here for that as well. Dark Sun G says, "As long as Lloris plays great, we have a chance. We lost to Wolves because Lloris gave our forward options nothing to play for. They probably thought even if I score, Lloris will give a goal away. Ben and Kulu to start." Who wants to take this one?
I can take it. I mean, to be honest, Dark Sun G, I really doubt that the players thought that at one stage. I mean, Lloris has saved them so many times. I mean, think about all the times Lloris has, kept us in games. I'm pretty sure despite the mistakes he made, the defenders as well as other players, didn't lose confidence in his ability. I really do. I feel like he's earned that kind of credit. He has that credit in the bank like a lot of other players. But I do kind of agree. As bad as we played, the 2 goals that went in the back of the net were heavily, involved with some big Lloris mistakes. So you could also kind of say that with the sort of Southampton defeat in a way where not Lloris's fault, but similar things where it's like, yes, we played atrociously, but really individual errors just came down to us actually not getting anything out of the results. So if maybe there aren't as many, even if we play terribly, if there aren't really any huge individual errors that leads to goals, who knows? Might actually grab a point out of this, Dark Sun G. But sometimes that doesn't really ever, end up that way. But Ben and Kulu to start, I think Bentancur is certainly starting, but Kulusevski, I'm not sure.
Yeah. I bet Bentancur, you could put a start on that. That's not even a question, my man. Kulusevski, all depends whether Conte wants to put him in that sort of cam role or not. To be honest with you, Dark Sun G. But look, big yourself up, my man, and really do appreciate the support, brother. I really do appreciate it. And there's more and more juicy questions coming, my man. Trust me. Mark Cousins says, can we play 7 at the back, get Ledley and Mabs in? Yeah, look, a few people have asked me this weekend on Twitter, am I ready to go as well? So, Ledley, Mabs and Harris in there. We're 3 of us, we're ready to go in there. We'll form our back 6 along with Romero, Dier and Davies. And we'll definitely keep them out for you, Marky boy. You go and enjoy yourself in the pub today, my man. Enjoy yourself. Maybe switch from the beer and go to a spirit. You might need something a little bit stronger. But big up Mark Cousins. Really, really do appreciate the support, my man.
Just checking in on Sean. Sean, you're right there. Sorry.
Yeah, the triple sneeze, my man. Triple sneeze.
No, that wasn't a triple. That was like that was a 5. Yeah, 5 or 6, like the scoreline today. No, I'm joking.
We get a message from the Guinness Book of World Records here now in the chat, asking, putting Sean down for a world record of 3 sneezes on the chat. Look, we'll avoid you this time, Sean. We'll pass this. We'll go through this one at Jacko. Tottenham beat Man City on the opening weekend of the season. Is there anything we can take and replicate from that 1-0 win?
Yeah, Dave, to be fair, there is actually a lot of it that you can take from it. Probably one of the main things, and I don't want to spoil it, Dave, because I know you got questions on it later, but Lucas Moura is something that we do, maybe have to look at as a bit of a case study, because that dude absolutely caused them havoc, as well as Steven Bergwijn, to be fair as well. What they were doing, Dave, is they were picking up the ball in these sort of kind of spaces to lead counterattacks. When we would we would be so deep in that Nuno sort of system. We'd be so deep, but we kind of had Steven Bergwijn and Lucas Moura, these sort of kind of release valves in case we, ever got out of the pressure. We just gave it to them and they just drove up the pitch. It was probably like 4 or 5 occasions where, if you remember, like Steven Bergwijn would pick up the ball in space and just be driving for like 20 or 30 yards until, with no one there to challenge him. So what you could say is, let's say we get, really deep in the blocks, Dave. Let's say we get really, kind of back down in our own half. We're struggling to get out. Probably what you could say we could take from that last game is maybe using players like Steven Bergwijn and Lucas Moura that can just, with their own 2 feet, with their own 2 legs, just get you out of pressure, get you out of that press, get you out of that sort of, intensity in your own half. So I say you could take that. Also, a bit of the shithousery, a bit of the roughhouse that we saw from Tanganga. I would love to see maybe from Emerson and players like Romero as well. I think we certainly could take a lot of that. We're not going to be able to out-football or outplay really Man City, but we certainly can rattle their cage and we certainly can make them a bit more uncomfortable. And a lot of teams don't seem to do that. And I think we could try that certainly. But yeah, Dave, the 2 things I would say, maybe a bit more shithousery than we're used to. And then also I would say really use players like Steven Bergwijn and Lucas to get you out of pressure.
Yeah. Look, shithousen is definitely going to have to be one of them today. They're just going to have to be nasty individuals today coming up against Man City. You're spot on there, Jacko. Shawnee, we'll go to you now that you've regained yourself. Antonio Conte started really well when he replaced Nuno as Tottenham boss in November. He went 9 unbeaten, but our recent form and results have been poor, lad. What would you put this down to? Formation, injuries, or just lack of quality from individuals?
Yeah, it's always a combination of the above. I think that, look, on reflection, I think the transfer window, when you have the benefit of hindsight, I don't want to get sucked into what Conte spoke about, but we did only get left with 4 kind of recognised central midfielders, and when one of them's out injured for a month immediately after the window closes, or at least a month, could be longer from what we're hearing, then you're only left with 3. And that means that you can't really play a 3-5-2 and have options on the bench if someone gets injured during the game. So with the benefit of hindsight, I think we did let one player, maybe a Lo Celso, shouldn't have gone. Somebody should have stayed, even though it was a means to an end. I think that we did get rid of one too many. And I think that has then, as a consequence, forced us into a formation that doesn't suit us. If you're playing a 3-4-3, I don't personally think Harry Winks works in a 3-4-3. So, and Bentancur wasn't ready initially to come straight in. He had to be sort of bled in gently. But the 3-4-3 hasn't worked. Obviously, and I think you have to put it down a little bit to Eric Dier being more a fundamental part of our back three than we would otherwise like to kind of imagine or to kind of admit. For a bunch of reasons. You know how I feel about the language thing. I think that's super important.
Yeah.
But also Sanchez is just a calamity waiting to happen. So I think it's a combination of things. I think that the transfer window left us a little bit short, or a lot short in midfield. And then Skippy's injury has really screwed us, a lot there, because he's such a pivotal part of our squad. And then, playing against teams that I think we all underestimated a little bit. I think Wolves are a far better outfit than we on this show and every other show probably gave them credit for. Southampton as well. And obviously the other game was Chelsea, right? So, there's kind of par for the course. But I don't think it's as bad as it's not as bad as we think it is. We think we're in like dire straits because we lost to 2 games that we think we should have won. But I think a little bit of that is down to underestimating how good they actually are. And hopefully when Skippy's back, hopefully with Dier back, after today, whatever happens today, we can get back to some sort of normality and get back on the front foot and charge into the rest of the season.
And do you know what, Sean? I think you're absolutely spot on there. I think that's a message that we do need to try and convey. Like, look, I know we've lost the last 2 or 3 games, but the world's not over. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, look, losses happen during the season, but we're still in for a chance with top 4. It's still not as bad as it seems. Look, we have to understand that we have had injuries. We're not playing with our best 11. So now that these players are starting to come back slowly and drip feed back in the team, hopefully we will see a complete upturn in results. But things are definitely not as bad as maybe some fans are making them out to be right now. Yeah. But James, Tottenham have scored just 10 goals in their 10 away league fixtures this season. Is this down to poor form away from home, or is it a psychological
problem? Very good question, Dave. These questions are brilliant today.
Yeah. And lad, trust me, they're only going to get ramped up from here.
I think it is a little bit of psychology. Like you said, 10 goals, 10 games. That's not brilliant. That's really not brilliant, especially when you're trying to win a game. You normally need to score more than 1 goal because our team's going to concede a goal. Let's remember that. Yeah. So I can't remember the last time we kept a clean sheet away. Was it against Watford on New Year's Day? And then obviously we won 1-0 in that. So I think it is psychology as well. And I think it's a part of it is the fact we don't get enough possession and we're not commanding enough from the start. And therefore, say we go 1 or 2 goals down. I don't know what you might have your fact stat up there, Dave, about how many times we've actually got a point when we've been 1-0 down. Because every time
why not, Dave? Come on, mate.
No, but listen. Every time we do concede, it does seem like we're gonna not get back into a game. I feel like as soon as we go 1 goal down, you look against, obviously putting it as the easy examples, Wolves and Southampton. When we went 1 or 2 goals down, we never looked like coming back. I know, especially for Wolves, but Southampton, even when we went 3-2 down, I was not full of confidence we were coming back even in those last 10 minutes. So I feel like when we go down, it is psychology. We do sort of go, oh no, what are we doing? Like we kind of panic, start changing tactics. Yeah, it goes out the window, to be honest with you. But yeah, that's my thoughts.
No, big yourself up. I just want to give a quick shout out to Bobby K's son. What's the name again? Little
Christian.
K.
Little K.
Christian K. Little K. Big yourself up, my man. I hope you are keeping well. You know, and make sure you have the same love for Tottenham as your father does as well, buddy. But big yourself up, my man. Good to see you in.
Great family. What guys. Great guys.
No, they are.
He actually has I think Little K has a really good FIFA card as well, Dave, right? You know,
yeah,
he's got a nice FIFA card, and Dave's about to compare his.
Look at this. What is that? What rating?
Man? I'm with you.
Oh, hold up.
How did Paratici not find this guy? Do
you know what? I bought it in anticipation, sending it into Steve Hitchen, thinking he might take a gamble on me, but you know, it didn't happen.
Throw 15 million on that.
He won't take the gamble. He's too wise, that's for sure.
Dave, you got to get that behind you in your background somewhere, surely.
Oh, lad, you know what? Honestly, right, I'm a bit of a disaster. I have so much stuff there to actually put up and change the whole background altogether. I have a ring light there, camera, and everything else. Just a bit of a disaster at the minute. I will get round to it. I'm just one of them slow burners, lad. But Jack, Hugo Lloris made some very costly mistakes last weekend. How important is it that we see a fully focused, error-free Hugo today if we want to get a result? Because he's going to be fucking crucial.
I mean, it's the difference between winning and losing, Dave.
Yeah.
You know, these sort of matches. It's simply said, if Hugo Lloris has any sort of howler, if he parries anything, even like it's sometimes a matter of inches, Dave. If he parries it, 2 inches, maybe not in the right direction, who knows? That could be the difference between, a tap in and, maybe, Man City just missing it. And so to be fair, like Hugo is going to have a perfect game. He is going to have to, be able to probably pull out, some sort of worldy kind of like, save. He is going to have to be, the human cat that sometimes he is. Sometimes he can just absolutely spring, across the goal to save something. But Dave, it's the difference between winning and losing. I don't think I need to dive too much into it. Any sort of mistakes that he made from the Wolves game, it's just game over if that happens. I mean, Man City, I would say a lot of the goals that they even score sometimes are kind of tap-ins or kind of like some sort of goalkeeper mistakes where it seems like the keeper, receives a shot or a cross, doesn't really do the best with it. And that's just some sort of kind of like, I don't know, ugly tap-in by some, Man City player going into the box. As beautiful as Man City sometimes play, a lot of the goals that they do score sometimes are actually quite scrappy when you do kind of look at it. It is basically just them overwhelming you in the box. You don't get a good clearance. Maybe the keeper doesn't make a good save, in this case with Hugo, and then they just kind of, put it away with some decent finishing. So, yeah, Dave, the difference between winning and losing.
But Jack, I'd rather score a scrappy goal than no goals. It's got to be said. Like, it doesn't matter how the ball goes in the back of the net. Believe me. I'm not,
I'm not stiffing my. Yeah, no, I'm not. But at least in the case of Man City, we do give them a lot of praise. But if you do actually watch the goals that end up going in the back of the net, a lot of it just actually is kind of defending sort of mistakes and defending errors. It's not always just City's brilliance. It is just sometimes just kind of defending errors.
Yeah, no, for sure. Look, he's going to be absolutely crucial to Jack today, Jack. We just need our captain to be able to, put them mistakes behind them. You're absolutely spot on there, my man. Shawnee, Conte is expected to make changes to the side that started against Wolves last time out. So we will start with the wing-backs here. Do you expect to see Emerson Royal and Sergi Reguilon back in the starting lineup today if it's not Reguilon out with the COVID?
So who was it? Serge Reguilon. Who was the other one you mentioned?
Emerson.
Yeah, I do. Yeah. Pending whatever with the COVID thing is, I do expect both of them to come in. I mean, Doherty was just plain awful against Wolves. Sessengon didn't do anything. He got taken off after 20 minutes. I personally thought that the better way to do it would have been to take off Doherty and put him as a inverted right back. But that's just my personal opinion. I felt bad for Sessengon, but of the 4 we've got, you have to, in a defensive model when we're going to be under the cosh. For me, you need Emerson and Serge Reggie. For me, it's not like we have too much to choose from. But of what we do have, those are the 2.
No, spot on. And maybe a bit of a follow-up question, Sean, and then we'll head to James and get Jack's answer on this as well, because this is a bit of a juicy one. It's like a juicy rib. I can really sink your teeth into this one. But a lot of fans are torn about who to start at right wing back, Emerson or Doherty. What do both bring to this team, and who suits us better for the way Conte wants us to play?
I mean, on the right wing back side, look, Emerson definitely brings more defensive. I think he's fairly reliable defensively. And going forward, I think he's got more stamina than Doherty. I think he's got more top end pace than Doherty. I do think he can get up and get back. I'd argue that Doherty has slightly better concentration, slightly better spatial awareness, but he doesn't create anything. He's like a risk-free. Like, in his mind, he doesn't want to take any gambles. He doesn't want to take any chances. He'd rather sit on the touchline and wait for a ball to come to him so he can zip it inside rather than making a dart down the side. We saw that against Wolves. It was very much trying to pull the width rather than trying to make a dart. And I do think that one thing Emerson can do, we know how bad he is at crossing. We know that he can't, or he doesn't cross particularly well. We know that he can't beat a man when there's a defender in front of him. But we have seen relative successes when the ball is put into space and he's going at them. And if the defender's on the retreat, then I think Emerson is okay. But Doherty doesn't offer any of those things. So for me, of the two, Emerson offers more in most of the areas. But like I say, you're talking like, the difference between a 3 out of 10 and a 5 out of 10 in most of the areas. Like, it's not like a great choice. It's not much like the baseline. We're scraping the barrel here. But I think Emerson is better in most areas. The only area where I'd say Doherty probably has a bit of an edge is his concentration. Emerson can be liable to make sloppy. He can just like a bit like Sanchez, right? Should just turn off for a second defensively sometimes and get caught out with his positional defensiveness. That's it.
No, spot on. And the hater is back. He says, "Oh, the Irish mug is on here. Can we have some more unfunny cat joke, lads? Yeah, you're a pussy. How about that one?" What? But look, we'll keep Jack. Same question I asked Shawnee, Jacko. What does Emerson and Doherty bring to the team? And who is better for the way we play?
Emerson, I don't know, Dave. I defend Emerson like a prime Ledley King sometimes, and he probably should thank me for it. I should probably be, his ringman, to be fair, or even his agent, maybe for the future for him. But Dave, I think Emerson is just better suited for this one. We kind of spoke about, we want to basically get a similar performance that Tanganga put in, against Man City. Who's going to give you that Tanganga-like performance? It's going to be Emerson at the end of the day, Dave. It's going to be Emerson. It's not going to be Doherty. You're not going to see Doherty shoving over Sterling in the first 3 minutes. You're not going to see Doherty kind of, taking a bit of the pain, taking a bit of kind of the grit, into the game. He's just not that kind of player. He's never been. Dark Sun G even knows as well. He's Mr. Hollywood. He's Mr. Oscar. He's just not going to ever do that. Emerson, though, on the other hand, Emerson might actually lay, a big challenge, on Sterling right in the beginning of the game. He even can be a bit clumsy about it. But to be fair, that's what Tanganga is as well. Tanganga can be a bit clumsy with some pretty, heavy hitting challenges. And that's probably what we're looking for in a game like this. I also agree with Sean where maybe Doherty's a lot more composed on the ball and probably doesn't give it away as much. At the same time, though, we just need players that can actually just get us out of our own half. And Emerson is going to be that guy that can just make that run deep and behind and be able to, spread the pitch and be able to get that ball in behind for us. So Doherty is not going to make that run in behind. He'll make that run in behind if we're dominating the ball, but this is not going to be a game where we're dominating the ball. So you do need players like Emerson to get you out of the half. I know he's atrocious on the ball, but at the end of the day, he is quite quick. He is probably has the best sort of stamina or some of the best sort of kind of like up and down kind of energy, maybe in our whole team. I would even argue sometimes better than Reguilón. And then, that can be that sort of player that can get us out of the pitch, as well as like someone like Reguilón. Like I would say Reguilón is actually much better for this game than even maybe Sessengon is, because Reguilón is still decent defensively, but also he will be able to get us out of our half more than I would say probably Sessengon would. And so you just need players like that can, get you out of pressure, even if they're not the best on the ball, at least with their own 2 legs, with their own speed, they can get you out of pressure. And
Jack, just to add to that, if on the rare occasion we do break quickly and you do see Mora or Son running with the ball, it's sometimes when the pace that those two have, it's difficult for anyone to catch up. But Reggie's got kind of comparable pace to some of those players. He can get up there on the other side. So if Mora does break on the right and runs through, you could expect Reggie to be there, at least for some kind of cross across the park or for the knockdown or anything that happens. Whereas I don't think you could argue the same for Doherty or Sessengon. Sorry. Yeah.
No, spot on, boys. And James, same to you, my man. Anything else you want to add to what the boys have already said? Anything maybe that you think they missed?
Listen, I'm not going to sit here and compare Doherty and...
He doesn't.
He's definitely not going to sit there and compare.
No, he actually can't stand for it. He literally can't even speak for it.
I think I just lagged out.
I think you cut it. Yeah, I lagged out.
Where did I get to?
You were saying I can't compare Emerson and Doherty. You were saying I can't compare.
I didn't actually. That was great comedic effect. Then it looked like I lagged out or something. And I was talking about it.
You literally couldn't. The internet wouldn't even allow you to.
All I was going to say was I'm not going to sit here and compare Emerson and Doherty. Like it's just comparing two absolute shitters. Let's be honest with you. But Jack, you make a very good point. Doherty maybe has a little bit more concentration, but then again, does Emerson? I think Emerson maybe has better crossing. Certainly puts.
I think my point though, James, is like if you want that Tanganga performance from your right back again, Emerson is more likely to do that than Doherty, I think is.
Yeah, listen, it looks like Reguilon's out today, so that's a big miss with the other fullback. And then you've got to consider the fact that we've got Ben Davies as left wing back. That's more of my concern today, I can't lie to you. Apparently, with Ben Davies left wing back, I mean, can you imagine him up against Sterling on the wing today?
No, I don't even want to.
But
what? Sorry? Ben Davies is going to be moved to left wing back.
Yeah, the reason being, Reguilon wasn't seen in any of the training photos. Therefore, Alistair Gold thinks he's the guy with COVID that's not named.
Yeah, but then Sessengon?
Yeah, I don't know. That's what I've read. Ben Davies.
Wow. Okay.
Well, look, we'll wait and see. Dark Zone G says our away games were terrible under Nuno. Gooners were 3-0, 3-1 loss. Palace 3-0 loss. West Ham a 1-0 loss. Sure, Conte's first game for us was Everton 0-0, but that was his first game, so I don't read too much on 10 away goals in 10 games. Sean, what would you say, Dark Zone G?
Yeah, no, 100%. We spoke about this before the game against Leicester. I think it was on this channel. We were talking about, that the Tottenham's away form wasn't that great. And I think I made the point then, that I think it was like we've only won 7 games in 24 matches or something. And I was like, well, that includes Mourinho, that includes Nuno. It goes back a long way. And the last away game, was it the last away game apart from Chelsea was Leicester? We scored 3 of our 10 goals then. I'm not sure if that makes the stat better or worse to hear.
We're scoring more under Conte than what we were under Nuno, I suppose.
Yeah. So, listen, I don't know. I think, look, stats are great, facts are great and everything, but sometimes you just have to, this season's a weird season for Tottenham, right? You've had 2 different managers, 3 managers, well, whatever, 2 managers, but a long period between all the unsettled kind of noise about the time between finding Nuno, and it was. I don't want to look too much into the past to figure out what's going to happen today. I know it's a necessary thing to do as part of the pre-match build-up, but I think that today is just one of those days where we just need to figure out, okay, how do we stifle Manchester City? And I don't think we have to worry too much about our away form because Manchester, even if it might be different if you were playing a different, like a mid-level
not a reflection of the away form.
Yeah, Manchester City's a whole different beast. So whether we lost or won to Crystal Palace or West Ham is kind of irrelevant when you're playing against the level of Manchester City. It's a whole different formation, different system, different tactic, and hopefully different results. So.
Well, Dark Song G, I do apologise. I'll bring up another stat next time for you. Hopefully you prefer that one. But Dark Song G, knocking it. I do see what you're saying, my man. Dark Song G is the decider on whether it's a good stat or a bad stat. But big up Dark Song G, my man. I really do appreciate the support, brother. And I believe West Ham have just finished 1-1 with Newcastle.
Yeah. That's good.
Absolutely excellent news. What more do we want as Spurs fans? Them dropping points, brilliant news.
Yeah.
But look, Jack, if Reguilon is the player out with COVID, should we hand Ryan Sessengon another start despite his early substitution last week?
I mean, absolutely. I mean, rather, if we're especially going with the 3 in the back with wing backs, Dave, I mean, just can't put Ben Davies out there. It's suicide. It really is. I mean, he just doesn't get forward, Dave. Like you said 1,000 times, he doesn't even want to play out wide. He doesn't even want to keep the width. He'd rather just play easy, safe passes back inside. He doesn't want to try to challenge Man City. He does want to play that daring sort of pass. He's almost too afraid, it seems like, to give the ball away when he is kind of a wing back, to be fair as well. I don't know, Dave. I think Sessengon is the best. I mean, he's a solid back backup left wing back for Reguilon. Don't get me wrong, very solid. I think there's no reason you shouldn't play him. I know maybe he's a bit young, but we played him in that Liverpool game because we knew that Reguilon wasn't available for that one, I believe. And Sessengon proved it. Maybe against the bigger teams, Sessengon really does show up, and you can make that sort of argument. And as well, I just think he's in every sort of way a better left wing back in Conte's system than Ben Davies is. And to be fair, Ben Davies, you do see the best of him in that sort of position. He plays in the back three anyways. There's no reason he should be on the pitch if we're not playing a back three. If we're not playing a back three, in my opinion, Ben Davies shouldn't be on the pitch. So, I mean, Sessengon, I hope he's really up for it. He seems to be up for the bigger games, Dave. He seems to really challenge and, even sometimes put in performances where you're kind of thinking to yourself, like, maybe he is comparable with Reguilon. So if he does any sort of, performance like that, like he did against Liverpool, against Man City, a lot of Sessengon praise, I would bet. But Ben Davies just can't even be near that position for me, Dave. It's suicide.
Could the reason why Ben Davies might be playing left wing back is actually it's not really left wing back. We're actually playing like 6 defenders like we did against Chelsea, if you remember the bridge. We kind of playing almost like 4 centre backs and or like 3 centre backs and 2 very defensive full backs that are basically sitting in at centre back as well.
That would probably be the case. But then we could just expect us really to struggle to get out, of the pressure, I would say. I mean, we might defend the pressure better, but to get out of it, we certainly won't be able to get out of it. But you're probably right, James. That probably would be the logic if you were to play out there.
Yeah, for sure. I thought this was Callum Best for a minute. I was saying, get out my chat, man. My missus will be all over you. But it's not Callum Best. He says, if Conte walks in the summer, I'd love to have Pochettino back. Big yourself up, Callum. Hope you are keeping well. And maybe just to a follow-up on Jack's point there on what he was talking about. Will Sessengon be in the right frame of mind after being the fall guy for a bad start versus Wolves?
Well, I mean, I think 2 things you have to hope for. One of them happened. We were at the game. He had to walk. He didn't just run off. He could have ran off the pitch, right, in 5 seconds, but he trudged off very slowly, exited the pitch on the other side from the dugout, and then walked around. Then he got a standing ovation from every single part of the East Stand, the South Stand, and the West Stand as he was walking off. A lot of people were calling him, like he's one of our own, or not. Sorry, whatever it was, whatever the Y word chant. I'm not sure if we can say that word anymore. I don't know, but he was getting a lot of kind of comfort from the fans, and also I think you'd hope. I don't know what happened, but you'd hope that Conte put an arm around him and said, "It wasn't you, bro. Like we're 2-0 down after 25 minutes. We have to change the formation. We have to go more aggressive. Someone had to come off. It's nothing to do with your personal performance because everybody was as bad as each other. So you just hope that Conte had that kind of fatherly kind of hug. And then I don't know if he came out and said it afterwards. Maybe if anyone asked him, I don't know. I can't remember what happened in the post-match comments. If Conte was asked about why Sessengon, and if he was, what did he say? I don't know the answer there. But look, I think that hopefully if all of that was handled well and Sessengon realizes it wasn't him, it was just a necessity, then that's fine. But also, I think you have to, he's a big boy, right? He's playing in front of, he's a professional footballer. You need to grab your chances when you get them. If he wants to dislodge Serge Reguilon, then the last time he had the chance was against Liverpool when he put in an absolute shift in. He was brilliant. He had Mo Salah in his pocket for 3 or 4 days after that. And I think that, I think today's another opportunity. Now. Yeah, he's still there now. That's probably why he got taken off. Salah was dragging him off. Let me go. But no, I feel like today's another chance, right? If Sessengon comes in today and does an absolute shift today and keeps some of City's right-sided players a bit quiet, then he does put in a claim to get a more consistent role in the team. So yeah, no reason why he should be negative, and every reason why he should come out fighting today, put in the shift of his life. And then his career can take an upward trajectory from here.
No, absolutely spot on. I love that, Shani. I love it. James, we have been struggling defensively of late, conceding 9 goals in our last 4 Premier League matches, 3 more than we did in Conte's first 9 in charge. But we have been bolstered by the availability of Eric Dier, who missed the last 3 games with a thigh injury. How important is Eric Dier's return?
Massive. It just means we can get one of the 2 clowns out of Ben Davies or Sanchez out of the centre-back positions. Although apparently Ben Davies is playing as well, like the predictions say. But listen, Dier has been unbelievable since Conte joined. He's probably been our best centre back other than Romero. Really, it's not even a probably; it's a definitely. And I think that Dier really does thrive in a back five. Wasn't so sure of him in a back four, but notice when we changed to a back five, he really does come on because he's got those other two defenders near him. If he does kind of make a bit of a moon boots Dier situation where he's kind of lost where he is. But no, he's got that support in a back five, and I think it really does work with him. And he is a bit of a leader. He does speak. I'm going to use, is it Sean's phrase or Jack's, where he likes to speak 2 different languages? I have to throw that one in there. Like, he can communicate in 2 different languages, which is great. And yeah, I think Eric Dier is a massive boost today. I really hope I'm not going to be clipped later and he's actually made an absolute calamity. But, you know, let's hope he really does strengthen that defense and, you know, stops those silly sort of through balls going through or those intricate passes like Jack was saying where Man City just ping on the edge of the box and then it's in the goal. Let's hope he can break some of that out. But you know, time will tell. 4 hours time what my mood will be for the rest of the weekend.
He can also play that ball out of pressure though as well. Like Eric Dier, we just need sometimes like he's also probably our second best defending center back, but he's probably as well our second best, you know, center back in possession. So it's good to have someone, you know, and you know, that's actually decent on the ball because Man City, I mean, every single time Sanchez would have the ball against Man City, he's just going to he's just going to send it into the stands. Probably, honestly, I'd be fair if you want a souvenir. I mean, honestly, Sanchez is going to send a few into the stands if he were to play. So
yeah, but Jack, to be fair, it's a good point. But is he going to be able to put it into the stands, or is he going to make a 20-foot touch that then goes to Sterling, Mahrez, or you know, one of their forwards?
Pick your poison. Yeah, I guess.
I'd rather he booted it out, Jack. I'd rather he booted it out than bloody tries to dribble. Davinson Sanchez trying to dribble is like I'd rather dribble past Man City. You know,
every touch he gets, he just boots it. Every touch he gets, that'd be spectacular.
I just want to apologise to Leighton Evelyn in advance. Look, it's game day. Of course, I believe we can win. So I do apologise. Do not hate me, my man.
Plug your ears, Leighton. Plug your ears.
Everybody, make sure you keep smashing that like button. Keep smashing that subscribe button if you are new. Content absolutely daily on this channel. You see all these faces here regularly enough throughout the week. And guys, feel free to get your super chats in and help support the channel in its growth to try and be one of the best Spurs channels there is on YouTube. Adrian Che is in the house. Big up, guys. No matter the result, let's stay.
Come on.
Positive.
Hey. Love it.
Come on, Adrian.
Absolutely love that. Adrian, you need to come on. You need to spread some of that positivity, my man. Big yourself up, Adrian. What an absolute legend. I'm loving that. And, of course, look, even if we do lose today, look, we can't be sitting there going, it's the end of the world and going crazy. I mean, we have to realise we are up against Man City, the quality they have compared to what we have. So, but I love that, Adrian. Big yourself up. But look, Jack, you know, I may as well throw this one at you, and we'll also give the same one to Shawnee here.
Yeah.
In 8 games where Dier started in the Premier League as the central defender in the back 3, Spurs were unbeaten, winning 5, drawing 3, and have conceded just 4 goals, keeping 5 clean sheets. What is it Eric Dier brings to the defence that makes us more solid at the back?
Yeah, I mean, I probably shouldn't have said what I said earlier because then I'm going to kind of repeat myself. But not only is he, like I said, Dave, one of our better defenders, he actually offers a bit of composure, it feels like, Eric Dier. Sanchez, we all know, Dave, he's the definition of ball-watching sort of defender. Sometimes Eric Dier can be a bit guilty of that, I would say, as well, but nowhere near as much as Sanchez. He just offers a bit more security, offers a bit more kind of, you know, cool head, you know, kind of calmer sort of feet. To be fair, we lack composed center backs. Even Ben Davies, as much as he's had maybe a bit of a resurgence under Conte, you know, he still sometimes can be a little bit shaky. He can look a bit nervous on the ball. Whereas Romero and, you know, Dier don't really ever seem as rattled, actually, in comparison to the rest of our defenders. So that alone, you know, will help us a lot. Just someone that just doesn't look as shaken, Dave. Someone who doesn't look like they're in the trenches like Harry Winks does in the first 10 minutes. That'll be nice. But like I said as well, he's probably our second best center back in possession. Maybe even you can make the argument as our best center back in possession. He'll be able to maybe play passes into players' feet that maybe other center backs wouldn't, especially if he'll be in the middle of that back 3, Dave. Maybe he'll be able to find the center mids. He'll be able to find potentially Harry Kane. He also, as well, against Liverpool, Dave, with that high line that Liverpool played, he played a few delicious balls in behind to players making runs in behind as well. Potentially he could help us with that. I don't know, Dave. He's just single-handedly our second best center back. and not even just for defensive reasons, but for a lot of other reasons as well. And that's probably why we play better under Dier. He's a leader. He's single-handedly, you know, one of our better ball-playing center backs, and he also just offers a lot more composure than the rest of them.
Yeah, no,
and I can't believe I'm saying that, you know, with Moon Boots, because last year I would not have said that.
Yeah, I'd love to go back. There was an episode on Spurs LA where literally Dave came on and single-handedly character assassinated Davinson Sanchez and Eric Dier. It's the title, so I can't wait to go back to that, and then maybe we will reuse it today. Actually, you know.
Yeah, maybe we'll just clip it and put that up after the game. You know, that'd be grand. You know?
Exactly.
But no, look, you know, hopefully Eric Dier has listened to it. He's learned from it. He's took it as constructive criticism, which he probably has done, and now he's out there performing. So there's method to my madness, James.
Yeah, love it.
But Shawnee, what do you think that Eric Dier brings to this team, my man?
Honestly, I agree with everything that Jack said. You know, he is a leader. He does bring a calming influence. I think that just to, and I won't mention again the language thing, right? Because it is important, but I've said it 1,000 times. I'm sure everyone in the comments has heard me say it.
Go on, say it. I want to hear it.
Well, I think that when you have 3 or 4 players in a back 4 or back 5, whatever, when you include the wing backs, of which 3 of them don't speak English as a first language or even anything like fluently. But they don't even necessarily. I know that Spanish and Portuguese can communicate, but they're still not necessarily. It's not that similar. And you've got a guy in Eric Dier who's right in the smack bang middle of the entire system and can speak fluently in English, Spanish, and Portuguese. Then he, as a leader, it wouldn't be as effectual if he was not a leader. But the fact that he's a leader, he can control, coordinate in multiple languages, which gives those players who are newish to the league, newish to the country, newish to the team, a level of confidence and structure that they can be spoken to in their language and speak back in their own language. So that and that's just not in the moment. That's on the training ground. That's in strategic, decision making throughout the process of being a player at Tottenham. That's going to help until those guys learn the language fluently, which takes a long time. It takes a couple of years. If you don't speak English when you come here, it's going to take you 2 years before you're comfortable. And so it's going to be a brilliant help for Emerson, a brilliant help for Romero. And I know Reggie speaks English pretty well now, but Davies couldn't communicate to the other 2 either. So, and Sanchez as well. But Sanchez hopefully isn't going to play today. But so I think that the language thing is super important. And I think, I mention it all the time because I don't think it's as often remembered, but it is super important. Having him back, plus everything Jack said about him being a leader. The one thing I do want to ask, though, is, and I want people to remember, not to bring any negativity to it. But...
Sorry, go on.
Sorry, what's just happened there?
Sounds like 18 cans of Diet Coke were opened at the same time.
No, don't worry. Carry on.
I thought it was that Neo guy breaking into Dave's house. Then I thought, what's going on there?
He's absolutely raging. I schooled him earlier on with that joke. I'm still going
at your window.
He's absolutely raging. So he is. But sorry, Shani, continue.
No, it's all good. So I'm curious to know. So first of all, of that 10 games or whatever it is, 8 games unbeaten with Dier in the team. It's worth remembering that those games were against lower half opposition, right?
Sure.
So it's not as clear-cut a great statistic unless you look into the context. But also, I'd love to know, I don't know the answer to this, how many of those games had Romero? How many times has Romero and Dier played next to each other? Not many. Yeah. Am I right in thinking it's not that many?
No, it hasn't been that many at all.
Because Romero's been injured and then Dier was injured. Yeah, so you're right, yeah.
So it'll be interesting today to see our top 2 centre-backs playing together for what might be the first or second or third time to see how they work together. And look, if it's a match made in heaven and it works brilliantly, then it could be a super duper positive thing that we haven't really thought about. But also there's obviously teething problems with new partnerships. So we'll see what happens there. It's worth keeping an eye on during the game.
Sean, what language does Ben Davies speak?
English, Welsh.
I just wasn't sure because he never ever shouts on the pitch, so I just wasn't sure.
No, that is so true. That is so true. Leighton Evelyn says
he actually mumbles to himself a lot. Sorry.
Yeah. No. Sorry, Jack. What were you saying, man?
I've noticed Ben Davies mumbles to himself a lot. Like he'll like when he even like misplaces a pass, he'll always like kind of say something like.
He's the kid at school in the class that's like sitting there talking to himself like 2 + 2. Yeah, I can do this. And he's just sitting there. And Eric Dier in the changing room has to go up to him and slap him in the face and go, sort yourself out, Ben. Get some anger in you. A bit like Bergwijn when he got slapped. Sort yourself out.
I love it. Leighton Evelyn says, Jack and Dave, fair play. I love you both, but you're nuts. No, look, Leighton.
He's right.
I can get people that are walking into it. Look, we're going to get smashed. We're going to get hammered. I mean, I get that. I think about that sometimes myself, but I choose to ignore it when game day comes around. All these feelings of, maybe we can't turn them. They all creep in and they get the best of me. So, Leighton,
it's the pump-up show. It's not the wind-down show. That happens later. It's the pump-up show. We got to find.
Here's what you would say, Dave. Here's what you could say. You would much rather be right about how we won than you would be right about how we lost, because you don't want to predict, the reasons for, everybody can predict. It's so easy to predict the reasons for how we'll lose. It's a lot harder to predict the reasons for how we might win this one. So I would just say, that's the job of the panel, is try to find those difficult answers.
Yeah, and that's it, Leighton. You're absolutely spot on there, Jack. Look, I'm like the quiz master. I come up with all these absolutely juicy gossip, juicy questions for the boys. And then it's just about, hearing how we can kind of like solve these things, what other ways we can maybe come at this game and stuff like that. It's just, look, Leighton, it's not for everybody. It's not for everybody. Adrian Chea says, Dier started life in midfield, so he's got the ability to understand the different passages of the game, especially when transitioning. And as well, when we signed him, I believe he was actually playing right back from the Portuguese club that we signed him from. So when he first came into Tottenham, he could play centre back and right back. So look, you're absolutely spot on, Adrian. It's a bit like what they do at Ajax, coming through the system. They all play in different positions growing up to get an understanding of that position, and where them players should be positioned and stuff like that. And that's why you see Ajax, producing the players to do, because they all have that understanding, and then eventually just get picked off by the top European clubs then, and off they go. But you're absolutely spot on, Adrian, there. Absolutely spot on. What a comment.
Great.
Sean, really well put, Adrian. Really, really smart. Really well put, my man.
Yeah. No, it is. Yeah. Sean, Jack, and you want to say anything to Adrian?
No, it's okay. It's like Jack and everyone say. I think it's a brilliant insight that I had overlooked. He has played in the midfield. We have tried him in a defensive midfielder position. He has the benefit of understanding transitions. It's brilliant. Well done.
All I would say, Dave, the power of the Harris Army sometimes to be able to put something in less than like 15 words, and we take hours, to explain. That's what I will say sometimes. The power of the Harris Army, the efficiency is unbelievable.
No, it is. It is. He's still crying. Kleenex, if you're listening, Kleenex, please sponsor this guy. He's still crying. So he is. Big up. Leighton Evelyn is back again. He says, lads, listening to you lot, I think Spurs got a chance, but then reality smacks me in the face. We've got no chance. Keep eating them mushrooms, lads. James, do you want to say anything to Leighton?
Just to say, just to clear things up, we are all absolutely deluded, predicting some kind of positive result. However, we are drug free. I gotta say, and Leighton, no, I love it, because we've got to be positive, right? We've got to be positive. There's no point coming on here being negative and then watching a loss. We might as well, be positive. And if we win, it's double as great, because we were like, yeah, see, fucking told you Spurs were gonna win. Yeah.
Oh, love it, Leighton. I mean, be honest. We're insane. We're absolutely delusional. But I mean, sometimes, just don't let the reality smack you in the face. Just stay away from reality sometimes, Leighton. Just stay away from it.
Yeah, stay away from reality at 7:15 tonight as well.
But big up Leighton, my man. Really do appreciate the support. And I know he's sitting at home giggling. I know he's having a good laugh to himself. Big up Leighton. What an absolute legend.
I love his profile picture as well. It's class. Like, it's just him grinning next to a sign saying Leighton. It's just fantastic. A town sign.
Look, at least it's not a picture of a cat or a dog or something like that, because Neo will be crying saying you're doing animal abuse or something like that, the little baby. But look, we'll keep moving on. We'll keep moving on, so we will. Look, for me, just quickly, I actually think, Eric Dier, he just brings a bit of leadership. Like Sean was saying with the language, like Jack was saying with the playing out ability and stuff like that. So he'll definitely be a huge asset for today. And look, of late, we have been all over the place at the back, where our defensive line is straight as a line drawn by Stevie Wonder. So, organisation from Eric Dier will be absolutely key today as well. His vocals, I think, is really what we need back there. But, James, do you think we would be less leaky with a back three of Dier, Davies and Romero? No, James is gone. So, Jacko...
it's probably easily our best defense. I mean, I think it's from, the moment that we got Antonio Conte, that was probably the system that we thought would be the best back three. I think a lot of us originally were kind of saying Ben Davies, Romero, and Eric Dier is probably the best back three combination. Kind of makes sense. You have maybe two kind of, maybe a bit more, I don't know, cautious sort of center backs in the likes of Ben Davies and Eric Dier. And then you have Romero as that, destroyer, that ball winner that will, win the ball a bit higher up, be a bit more aggressive. It kind of is a nice blend. It's a nice little mix of, different types of defending styles. I think it's our best back three, Dave. And I think we all know it's probably a bit leakier, especially with Davinson Sanchez and even Tanganga recently. It's certainly a lot better.
No, it definitely is. It definitely is. But look, we'll keep moving on, keep kicking on. Shawnee, in the last couple of games, teams have flooded our midfield and pressed us, and we've been overrun in the 3-4-3, especially with Winks in there. Do you think Conte may elect to beef up the midfield and switch from our usual 3-4-3 formation to a 3-5-2 and play in a similar way in which we did against Liverpool?
Yeah. So I alluded to it earlier. Look, I think that if you're going to have any chance against Man City, you need to have pace up front. You also have to You also have to just recognize the fact that you can't drop Harry Kane, but then you also have to recognize that playing a 3-4-3 at home against Wolves and Southampton has been an absolute disaster, right? So with those three realities baked into what we do today, I think that the only option is to go to some version of a 3-5-2 or a 3-4-1-2. And then you either make the decision to ask Lucas Moura to step back and be in the 10 role and do what he did in the Carabao Cup final, where he gets the ball when we can get the ball, he can turn on a sixpence, break at pace and try and draw fouls and get yellow cards from the central midfield of Manchester City. Again, in the Carabao Cup final, I forget who it was, Laporte, I think it was, should have been sent off. He only got one yellow card. He should have got two. That's right. So there's one technique, there's one strategy that you could use, or the other strategy, if you want to have Sonny and Moura or Bergwijn, whoever you want to be the pace up front in a 2 up front, then you have to ask Harry Kane, because you can't drop Harry Kane. You have to ask him then to sit back and do something which is kind of a little bit out of, a weird one to ask, but he needs to come back and play the 8 role, fill in for Harry Winks, because, Harry Kane is a better passer than Harry Winks. All day long. Harry Kane is better than Harry Winks. Harry Kane could defend better than Harry Winks. He can attack better than Harry Winks. He can pass. He's got better vision, better timing. He also has the ability to turn the ball. Harry Winks is terrified of the press. Harry Kane isn't. So Harry Kane is smart enough when he gets pressure from behind, he can pivot. So I think that there's 2 options. One, you drop Lucas Moura and ask him to do what he did in the Carabao Cup final and hope that draws fouls and yellow cards. Or you ask Harry Kane to step back into the 8 role today alongside Bentancur. Yeah, alongside Bentancur and Højbjerg, and then allow Harry Kane to be able to pop the passes to, when we do get the ball, to allow Lucas and Sonny, or Bergwijn and Sonny, whichever choice you want to make of those 3, to be able to run at pace quickly. That's pick your poison. I don't know. The second one is more experimental. The first one makes more sense. We've tried it before. But for me, you can't drop Harry Kane. And for those reasons, I think you have to go 3-5-2 on some variation and pick your choice of the 2 I've just offered you. That's my style anyway.
No, I absolutely love it. Absolutely love it. A different take on it, Shawnee. James, if we stick to a 3-4-3, do you think we will see the reintroduction of Pierre-Emile Højbjerg today? And did we miss the steal he provides in the midfield versus Wolves?
Yes and yes. I think we'll see Højbjerg today for sure. I think Conte realizes he probably made a mistake there, especially with Winks still on the pitch. And I mean, I just don't think that was his best decision, Conte's yet. But let's not go on about the manager. He's working with a bunch of, he's working with a bunch of players that he shouldn't be working with at the end of the day. And I think we really did miss Højbjerg's grit. Like the amount of times that Wolves, with their 3-man midfield, were just getting through us so easily. Like it was like butter through a knife. They were just cutting through us and getting straight through to our box. And the amount of shots they had, like we don't often get, our stats against us where the shots are that considerable. Same as Southampton. You remember, I know Højbjerg played that game, but the fact that the teams at the moment are cutting through our midfield so easily, it's a concern. We really have to get this midfield duo or midfield trio right. That's the best for Spurs. I think eventually it will be Bentancur, Skip and Højbjerg. But just at the moment, while we're dealing with these injuries and dealing with these, this main player out in Skip, We have to play Højbjerg like he's a class above Winks. He's 2-3 classes above Winks. I just couldn't understand that decision. I don't know about you guys. As soon as I saw the lineup, I even said it on your channel. Like, why are we playing? Well, I just didn't understand it. Højbjerg getting dropped when he's fully fit, it makes no sense to me. So yes, we do miss his grit, and yes, we need that solidarity, and maybe even like Sean said, if Kane does drop back, it allows even Højbjerg to get forward at times, because we've seen a few wild Højbjerg runs this year. Don't forget, he's actually scored, I think, 3 Premier League goals. So, I mean, he's actually a value in terms of counter-attacks as well sometimes. I know that's overlooked, but...
It's actually crazy. He's literally our best midfielder going forward sometimes.
Exactly. And I think crazy. That you see it in the Euros, like the amount of goal contributions he got for, Denmark driving forward as well. Like, he does bring a valuable asset that's not just, that grit and that steel that you said, Dave. I think it is also... Højbjerg's better offensively than Harry Winks as well. So, definitely get him in there today, 100%.
Yeah, for sure. Adrian Chaya says City hates it when you get at them with the get behind them with diagonal balls. No, look, they definitely do hate it when they get turned. Them defenders are not comfortable when they're turned. So that's exactly what we need to do. We don't want to be dropping in, looking for defeat today. For me, you've got to go in behind and put the ball in behind and get them turned. Adrian, absolutely spot on. I can tell this is a guy that really knows football. Adrian, have you played at any sort of level? Do let me know, my man. Do let me know. And Leighton Evelyn says, you know what? You lads are fucking on the crazy train.
Come on!
Come on, you Spurs. Come on, Leighton.
Leighton. Come on, Leighton. Leighton, I can't wait to see you in our chat later on saying something about, why was I so deluded? But yeah, looking forward to that, my man.
Oh, he'll be back in here later on. I hate you guys this time.
Yeah, why did you do it to me? I was getting really excited, yeah.
Join the long list of people that Dave owes fivers back to. Dave, he's got a long list that he's got to pay people back for. So maybe Leighton will be there. Big up, Leighton.
Oh, absolutely. Big up, Leighton. What a man. I love it. He comes in, and within the space of an hour, he's like, no, come on, we can get this up. We can. I love the guy. I love him. Big up, Leighton. What a man. Jack, do you think that Højbjerg, a lot of fans have been on his back of late. Do you think he was that bad that he actually needed to be dropped?
I mean, this is kind of funny, Dave, is that I felt like there was a stage where Højbjerg, he went through a really, really bad patch where, to be honest, he was almost playing worse than Harry Winks to an extent. But then he recovered that. I feel like we're forgetting that. Then he kind of recovered that bit of form. In fact, against Chelsea, Dave, I believe especially the last game against Chelsea, you could say Højbjerg was by far one of our better players out there on the pitch at times. He does seem to, I don't know, Dave, I agree with Sean and James, like, especially what James is saying. I think Højbjerg practically does almost everything better than Winks, pretty much everything. I think people maybe are a bit harsh on Højbjerg, where they kind of just take him for granted maybe at this stage for what maybe he's done for us. It's like they set this really high bar for him, or this really high ceiling, and maybe we're forgetting that, we don't set that same sort of standards for other players. I think, to be honest, that's the reason Højbjerg gets a bad rap, is because we do sincerely have a higher bar for him than we do for other players, especially in the central midfield. I think Harry Winks somehow has a much lower bar of like satisfactory levels that we seem to have for him. So I don't know, Dave. I think Højbjerg, was he really playing that bad? To an extent, yes, because he was giving the ball away a lot. He was really not doing great under pressure. But to be fair, Dave, I mean, in games like this, you have to have Højbjerg in there. Højbjerg is the only reason you can even withstand a bit of pressure from City. He's the only guy that can even try to win the ball off of some of these players, especially also maybe, rattle some of these guys. When Phil Foden, picks the ball up in front of the 18, Dave, I mean, who's going to be slamming him into the turf? Is it going to be Winks or going to be Højbjerg? We all know the answer to that. So it's just going to be. And also as well, Dave, sometimes you talk about like someone who's reactive versus someone that's a bit proactive, it's also the case as well. Like Højbjerg, he just runs after everything, especially when things get a bit static, when things get a bit dead. He'll try to lead, presses. He'll try to, kind of get the team going again. He'll try to get the team kind of, get the engine going up. I don't know, Dave. I think there's 1,000 reasons why Højbjerg is a better option than Winks. And perhaps we were being a bit harsh on him, but I also have very, very, very heavy Højbjerg bias, so I would understand maybe why some people did see the reasons to drop him. And to be fair, Dave, he's kind of like Harry Kane. He never does get dropped. He never does, get a time off. So maybe it was, nice to see what life was like without Højbjerg. And once we saw that life without Højbjerg was a 2-0 home defeat to Wolves, I think it's good to have him back.
No, it definitely is. I can't wait to have him back. We're really going to realise what we were missing against Wolves for sure, Jacko. Wayne Bonner says 1-0 Spurs at half-time and 88-0 at full-time. Come on, you Spurs. That's the positivity I want, Wayne. That's gone beyond. You've got off my train. You're on the train that's leading my train, man.
Yeah.
Bonner. Absolute legend. I love Wayne. I love Wayne. He's a funny guy. Legend. He is a really funny guy. I like Wayne. Big yourself up, Wayne. And Wayne, I do hope you're keeping well, my man. I hope you are keeping well. Faz Radfar says, call me delusional. We can beat City again. Come on, you Spurs. Look, the more we talk, the more people are believing. And that's what it's about. At the end of the day, the pressure, we cannot deal with the pressure when we're favourites going into games. We just cannot deal with it. We're the underdogs today, and hopefully we have that underdog mentality. We go in as a band of brothers and we just absolutely pummel City. Be nasty, take them down at every given opportunity, and a nice, quick, solid counter-attack straight in behind, and let's go and punish them. But big up Faz Radfar. Really do appreciate the support, my man. Sean, if we do play on the counter-attack and we win the ball deep in our own half, how important is it we look to find Bentancur and get him on the ball to play those passes through the middle of the pitch to try and set away a Kane or a Son? And is he the only player capable of turning the defence into attack from deeper positions?
No. I think we can. I think like he's crucial, right? He definitely shows that he's super comfy on the ball. He doesn't get rushed under pressure, under the press. Obviously, we're assuming that Harry Winks isn't playing, right? So we're assuming that we've got Højbjerg and Bentancur. Well, I do think there's probably another outlet is Romero, right? I think that Romero's the sort of guy, nice Welsh gal. I think that Romero's the sort of guy that can win the ball back and then just kind of like go, chill guys, look to pass that way, but then flick like a 25-yard ball straight into the feet of Harry Kane, who can then, or to Lucas Moura, who can then turn and do what we just spoke about a minute ago. So yeah, I think Bentancur is going to be certainly a valid outlet and a necessary one. We need a worldie from him today, but I do think you look a little bit deeper, and if we get the ball back and there's enough time, then Romero can also create forward passes into the feet of, as I say, Harry Kane or Lucas, whoever's playing that deeper role, and allow Sonny and Bergwijn or whoever's going to be up front to make those darts. So we do have options. We do have outlets. Jack
or James, sorry.
No, just quickly, Dave, though, Wayne Bonner celebrating 9 months as a member, saying Kulusevski is a young Van der Vaart, in my opinion. It was evident in the Wolves game when he came on. Guys, I mean, maybe just quickly, perhaps, Wayne Bonner is saying that Kulusevski is maybe best through the middle.
Listen, 100%. If he's comparing him to Van der Vaart, he's on that other train that's in front of ours. I mean, that is something else. But no, Wayne, jokes aside, I do think he's more of a central player. I've said this as soon as he joined. He's for me, maybe he works on the right in Serie A, especially when he was at Parma. He had a good season, got a few goals and assists. But for me, in the Premier League, he's a tall unit. He looks quite strong. He looks quite physical, and he's got a good left foot on him. I can't see him being a right winger cutting him from the right onto his left foot. It's going to be too predictable. Teams are probably going to find him out, and he hasn't got that pace to nudge it past defenders. I think put him up front as a second striker, almost like we saw when Dele Alli came in under Mourinho and sort of played that second striker role and actually grabbed a few goals and took the pressure off Kane. I see him as that role.
Yeah.
Interesting. I like that breakdown. There you are. Wayne Bonner. Thank you for the 9 months as well, my man. Absolute legend.
Great
and Jason Bell as well, Dave, celebrating 6 months, saying, I really do think Dier is a good leader and brings cohesion to our defense. And that's exactly what we were speaking about earlier, Jason Bell. Big yourself up as well. Also celebrating 6 months as well, Dave. So big momentums or big momentous, anniversaries.
Big up Jason Bell. Look, Dier, with what we have at the minute, he is our leader at the back. He's our vocals. He's the one that organises everybody. I believe if he was at the back against Southampton, you wouldn't have seen our defence pull ragged the way it was. He would have definitely had that organising, screaming and shouting at people maybe. But big up Jason Bell. Really, really appreciate it. And Wayne Bonner, it's members for so long, absolute legends. Big yourselves up, boys. And Adrian Chia says no mention of City's tactical fouling up the pitch. They will try and hook us down early to try and stop us on the counters. But if we can get him if we can get them turned early inside the first 10 minutes and maybe get them to pick up a yellow card or two, it kind of puts an end to that, to be honest with you, Adrian. And that's why I think Lucas is going to be so important today, getting on the ball, running at them, driving at them, and getting them to take them down and give away the free kicks, which then relieves the pressure on us as well, because then we can push right up, get that free kick, put it up into their half of the pitch as well, and then put them under pressure, Adrian. But big yourself up, my man. Big yourself up. Really, really do appreciate the support, brother. And James, Tottenham has scored just 28 Premier League goals this season, though with Kane, who has found the back of the net on 5 occasions, and Son finding the back of the net on 9 occasions. That's 16 out of our 28 goals have come from these two. Do other players need to do more to help Son and Kane out in the scoring department?
Listen, I think that's a great question for me after the point I just made. I think Kulusevski will probably be the guy that's the third sort of goal scorer in this team and bringing more goals in. Obviously, we'd like it to be Lucas. We'd like it to be Bergwijn. But at the end of the day, these guys are quite inconsistent, especially obviously Bergwijn. You know, he comes in and scores 2 goals in 3 minutes against Leicester. And then since then, he's come on and missed a sort of an absolute shocker. And the Bergwijn consistency isn't there, as we know. So I think Kulusevski could take some of this pressure away I just think central role. I think second striker, I really do. Take that pressure off Kane, take that pressure off Son. And actually that kind of then, because obviously the mentality factor of Kane not scoring, only scoring 5 goals, I'm not too sure the exact number he was on this time last season, but I would imagine it's at least double. So my point is, I think we're not surprised it's just Kane and Son scoring, but at the same time, we've brought Kulusevski in. I think that's one of the main reasons for that other ammunition to score, that other, the other guy that takes that pressure off. I think that's really key. And maybe even Bentancur can get the odd couple. I don't think he's going to get more than sort of 3 or 4 goals a season, but at the end of the day, we've seen him score for Uruguay now as his first goal the other day, but maybe he can pop up with a few. And obviously Romero, actually, by the way, he's had a couple of brilliant chances in the last 2 games from corners. One was disallowed, wasn't it, for offside? So I think we could see him popping up a little bit like a Jan Vertonghen, because he used to be like quite a top scorer for Spurs in terms of from defence. So these 2 signings, obviously Romero being the signing in the summer, but this is where the goals could come from, Dave.
Yeah, no, I really do hope so, my man. I really do, because we do need other people to be able to start chipping in. What I will say is, though, I think compared to other seasons, we probably do have a bit more chipping in. We have Højbjerg on the score sheet, Reguilon, and stuff like that. So Bergwijn, Lucas. So maybe they are being spread out, but maybe they're just not contributing enough. But Sean, both Harry Kane and Son have found themselves in good positions lately, but the finishing has not quite been up to their usual standards. Why do you think that is? Is it due to a drop in form, or is it due to how little chances we are creating for them in front of goal that these misses are being highlighted a lot more?
Is that Sonny and Bergwijn you mentioned?
No, Sonny and Kane.
I think that Harry Kane against Wolves, you could see the frustration was kind of palpable, right? And he started shooting from longer distance. I think he was just throwing a foot behind the ball sometimes and never really had the desire. Like, obviously when he got put through a couple of times against Wolves, and the same with Sonny. I mean, look, Sonny's definitely in a drop of form, but he is still the 4th highest goal scorer in the Premier League. He can still chip in and get goals every now and again, and he is usually on the score sheet if we do score. So it's a tough one, man. I don't know what's going on with him. I mean, because his form was dipped before he had the injury. Then he's come back from the injury and his form hasn't picked up. Maybe the formation doesn't suddenly, maybe they're not used to, they're trying to figure out the new 3-4-3. They were just getting used to the 3-5-2. And now since the window's closed, they've gone to a 3-4-3. And it's because of the scrap. Like, you know what? I'm not entirely sure, to be honest. Like, I definitely think that it's a bit of confidence, a little bit of form, but also I think that the chances are so few and far between at the moment that, Sonny and Kane don't know whether to come back and drop a little bit and help the defence, which is allowing everyone to play in the pockets between the midfield and the attack, or between the midfield and the defence, which is why we're having so many problems. I don't know what's going on. I feel like, I feel like it's a combination of the 3. I think that the formation's not suiting or the new formation isn't suiting them because it's not suiting the team either, if that makes sense. Hopefully with Winks out of the team, we can get more we can get a bit more trust in the midfield, and that will penetrate through to the minds of the guys so that when they do have the chance up front, they can just relax and get on with their job rather than having to worry about what's going on behind them.
Guys, I've got a question. Can I flip a question? Because I think this is a really interesting one about Kane and Son, not performing up to their standards. Do you guys think that this 3-5-2 or 3-4-3, whatever you want to call it, or whatever game it is we're playing, do you think it actually isn't suiting Son and Kane? Because you look at the Mourinho season where it was like a 4-3-2-1 or 4-2-3-1. Son and Kane got the most goal contributions. They broke records. They were scoring for fun, assisting each other for fun. Think of that Southampton game where Kane assisted Son 4 times. And since then, since we changed formation, I feel like they haven't been their best. Well, they haven't. It's a fact. Do you think it's something to do with the formation?
Potentially, but at the same time, I think it had more to do with maybe Jose Mourinho, I think specifically like working on like combination play between Harry Kane and Son. In fact, we kind of started to realize he was almost beating that to death by the end of the season, where it's the only way we scored was a Harry Kane Son sort of combination. And I think you could be right about the formation. I personally like to believe it'd be more that Jose just was exclusively working on, this is how we're going to score every single time. And I wouldn't even be surprised that that's what Jose was kind of going about. He is that sort of guy, to just think like, okay, this is how we're just going to beat every single team. This is our method. This is how we'll get the best out of these players. And to be fair, we saw the best numbers from Harry Kane and Sonny, whereas maybe Antonio Conte has a bit more trust perhaps in some of the forwards. He wants a bit more fluidity. He needs a bit more kind of like, I don't know, less selfishness or kind of things like that. He wants like players, he wants maybe the goals to be shared a bit, maybe more from the players. And he wants the system to be good, where it felt like with Jose wasn't exactly as much of a system. It really was just sort of these like attacking sort of routines and patterns and like, movements by Son and Kane that felt like very, I don't know, choreographed, before, the game.
Yeah, good point, Jack. But I just think, do you think there's going to be a stage where if Son and Kane really aren't performing, especially Kane, obviously,
we have to look at the shape.
You have to look at it because at the end of the day, you have to utilize your best players. I understand Conte likes his best formation, but if he hasn't got the tools till the summer to maybe utilize that 3-5-2 or the 3-4-3 as his preference, you have to mold to the players. I feel like you have to use where your players play the best.
Yeah, do you know what? I can see where you're coming from, but Kane and Son last year or under Jose Mourinho were they were at the best of their game, the top of their game, and that was never ever going to continue into this season where you were going to get them sort of numbers. And they really did overshadow the lack of creativity or chances being created from further back in the pitch. And I think now that problem has actually been highlighted more this season, that we don't have the players to be able to play out from the back. We don't have the players in midfield to be able to put chances on the plate for them. And I think that's more being highlighted this season than what it was last season, because Son and Kane carried us last season. They were at extraordinary heights, extraordinary levels, and we'll never reach them again. It was never going to be sustainable. So you're always going to look at further back, where's the chances coming from, who's creating them. And I think that's just been a massive part of the problem for both of their numbers, because they're both down compared to what they were last season. Both miles off it compared in terms of scoring goals and assists compared to where they were at this stage last season. And for me, it just highlights the fact of how little we create behind them, in my opinion. Sean?
Yeah, good point, Dave.
I think the Sue brings up a good point as well in the comments. Sue Smith, she's saying that we have overplayed. If you flog them to death, then they're going to drop. They're going to drop in form. And when was the last time that Harry Kane was substituted? Apart from, I know he was substituted once this year, or once in the last couple of months. I forget the game, but we were already winning, and it was just like a chance to give him a rest. But generally speaking, there's never he plays 90 minutes 99% of the time. Same with Sonny when he's fit. And I think that the formation does need. I've been saying it for a while. I feel like that. If you want to, some people don't want to criticize Conte. Other people think that he's not without criticism. He's not infallible. I think that he likes to play his formation But the sign of a true manager, the true top level manager, is someone that can adapt to. Like, you shouldn't be putting square pegs in round holes. If you don't have the squad to play the formation, you've got to play the formation to fit the squad, not the other way around. And I think in the last 3 or 4 games, it's become clear that he likes to play his way, and he's trying to figure out a way to get that done with the team that he has. That's notwithstanding the team is definitely poor in many areas, but not up front. Up front, we have an abundance of options, and so if they're not firing, is it because the shit's not happening behind them, right? And they can't relax. They get pulled out of positions to try and help out, or is it because the formation isn't right for them? And I'd like to see Conte figure it out. That's why he gets paid 14 or whatever it is £1 million a year. He's the most expensive, the most highly paid person at Tottenham Hotspur. Earn it, bro. Figure it out, man. We should be witnessing him tinkering, changing things, trying new systems, whether on the field or on the training ground. But Sonny and Kane not. Yeah, sorry, mate.
This is my point when it comes to Conte. The reason why I won't put any blame at his door, and I'll be honest, I'm not going to. It's purely because I've seen managers tinker with this squad before. I've seen them try new things with this squad, and we still get the same crap a lot of the times. I don't think it counts formations and tactics when it's been different formations and different tactics, different ways of players playing under a couple of managers now. It's got to be a point where it's down to so many individuals that no matter what system you put them in, they just cannot deliver what we need.
But Mourinho reshaped Harry Kane's game, right? Mourinho asked Harry Kane to fall back and to stop being the goal scorer and be the goal provider. And it worked fantastically well for the first half of the season, up until that Liverpool game, when we could have won the game in the 80th minute, ended up losing the game in the 90th minute or whatever it was. Yeah. And everything fell apart. But until then, Harry Kane was someone where Mourinho looked at the squad and went, how do I get the best out of what we have? And this is my version of it. And he asked Harry Kane to play differently than he's ever played before. And Harry Kane did it. It worked fantastically. And Sonny benefited from it. We haven't seen anything like that. We haven't seen any reusage or reutilization of key players in different positions, which is again why I mentioned today, just as an example, one of the versions could be for Harry Kane to come super deep and then take over the role of Harry Winks, because he does everything that Harry Winks could do better anyway. So why not try that? But I don't think Conte's the sort of person that does that. Conte likes his thing, and he expects the players to figure it out rather than him figuring how to make the best of the players. So to your point, I think Mourinho has given the example that there is a different way that you can use players that are not, it's atypical, and it worked.
Yeah, but what I mean is like it worked for half of a season. The second half of the season, teams copped onto it. Did we have an answer to it? No, we didn't. You know what I mean? Kane and Son, they played well in patches, but teams are copping onto the way we're doing. But like under Pochettino, we could play the same way every single week, but we steamrolled teams. But that's because we had the quality. We had the quality at wing backs. We had the quality at centre backs. We had the quality in midfield. We had the quality in Eriksen, which meant Son and Kane could just do their thing, hang around up top. And it was the players behind them that provided absolutely everything for them. But since we've lost that, you're looking at Son and Kane providing and scoring. But there also has to be an element of the players behind them helping.
No, I agree. But what is the role of a manager, especially the highest paid manager, the highest paid person in the football club, if it's not to use he can't get on the pitch and kick the ball, right? But he's apparently got all of these skill sets in his head. Like, if the answer is, well, he's only ever going to be able to show how great he is when there's 11 like phenomenal players on the pitch, then is he worth the 14 million? That's the question I ask.
But the thing is, we're acting like he hasn't changed tactics, and Conte has played 3 in midfield, 2 in midfield. He's played 4 at the back. He's constantly tinkering with this team. Let's not go on like he's not. He is tinkering with this team. He's tinkered with tactics throughout games and everything else. He changed the tactics against Leicester, which went on and got us the win. So he is tinkering at things. But just because the result doesn't go our way in a 3-4-3, it doesn't mean, Conte's not tinkering at teams, this, that, and the other. You know, sometimes you do have to look at the individuals and just say, look, just not good enough.
I definitely acknowledge we haven't got a good enough team. I'd just say I'd like to see, maybe, I take your point. He does change things. Yeah.
I think you're both right in some respects, but also at the same time, I would say, Dave, like, there will be a time, whether everyone likes it or not, where the fans start getting on Conte's back and going, yes, we haven't got the best players. However, you need to start changing it. For example, say today he comes out with a 3-4-3. I'll be like, hang on a minute. You know, we got overrun in the last 2 games. We have to put 3 in that midfield because we haven't got the facilities to be playing a 3-4-3 at the moment, especially with Skip out.
If you put Højbjerg and Bentancur, you have the facilities. I've been saying this. You cannot play a 2 in midfield with Harry Winks. Yeah. Look, I get he started Harry Winks last week. He probably wanted to rest Højbjerg for today. But we're talking about the last 2 games. But who's been involved in the last 2 games in midfield? Harry Winks. Let's not forget he was involved in the Pacos de Ferreira midfield this season when we got back. He's involved in the NS Moore midfield this season when we got back. You go back to Zagreb last season, he was involved. You go back to some of the cup exits against lower teams, the guy has been involved. So it's not something new that we know that Winks can't play in the midfield. It's always been that problem. Yeah. But at the end of the day, if that's what Conte has to work with and he has to play him at some stage, I keep saying to fans, expect these results to happen when this guy plays in there. It's not a shock. It's happened under Pochettino. It's happened under Jose Mourinho. It's happened under Nuno. It's happened under Conte. The problem is on individuals that we cannot rely on. That has proven to us time and time again, we cannot rely on them.
But Dave, you've also got to say like...
I get what people are saying, that you can question the manager and stuff like that. But like, why bring in a world-class manager and expect him to do something magical with Winks that no other manager has been able to do so far at this club? Why are we expecting Conte to be able to do this when no other manager has? When are we just going to sit there and go, look, no matter what manager we have in here, no matter what style or system he puts in, this guy is just fucking dog shit.
Yeah, no, I agree. But also I'm saying like the things he does have to work with, which obviously isn't a lot. We know that he has to make the right decisions, and that's when the fans will get on his back. And if he does start playing Harry Winks more, they'll be like, everyone will be questioning it. Yeah. Everyone will be questioning it. So there is that middle ground between, okay, Conte, you are working with a load of shit. We all know that. But also, you've got to make sure you're not playing the real shit in the important games when it matters.
Yeah.
I that's probably true. That's probably true, James.
We've had injuries last while.
It's probably true, but at the same time, then let's say we start criticizing Conte. I mean, what are we criticizing then? We're criticizing then. I get it, like he's maybe warranted for criticism, but then like you don't really get much better than this. Again, top 3, top 4 managers in the world. It's not getting much better than that. So if one of the top 3, top 4 managers in the world can't get the best out of Harry Winks, can't get the best out of Davinson Sanchez, and you look at all the managers,
then they have to go. But don't play them.
But don't play Winks. That's the thing, right? Like,
but this is the thing, though. What Dave is then saying, though, is maybe if he continues to play Winks, you guys are absolutely spot on. If he plays Winks in a 3-4-3, you guys are spot on. But to say that when he does it every once in a while and it gets messed up, I think it is maybe a bit too harsh on him, because at the end of the day, we look at what he has to choose from. And also, as well, I would say Harry Winks is doing a very good job, I must say, behind the scenes of being a teacher's pet it looks like. So I think we're all maybe ignoring that aspect.
I think that people have opinions where, like, there's the people that are the Levy outers that go, well, I'm so blinkered on the reason why we're dropping down and not things. It's Daniel Levy's fault. Therefore, I can't allocate any blame to anywhere else, because it's the players. Yeah, we all know they're shit, but they're shit, so we can't blame them for being shit. They're just shit. It's Daniel Levy's fault. And then other people are like, well, is Conte's the best manager Tottenham have ever had on paper and will ever have on paper. Therefore, we can't challenge him. It has to be the players' fault, or it's Levy's fault. And I'm saying, you can have opinions that are not mutually exclusive. You can hate Daniel Levy.
I get it.
You can hate Daniel Levy.
You're right.
You can recognize the players are shit and that there's not much we can do until the summer. But at the same time, you can also say, well, Conte, you played Harry Winks in a 3-4-3 against Southampton and he was dog shit. You played him against Brighton and he was dog shit. Even though we won the game, he was still awful. Why did you play him against Wolves? Right?
They don't have to be mutually exclusive.
Exactly.
They don't have to be mutually exclusive. But I would say, just quickly, Dave, what I would say is, if we're recognizing and saying out loud he has dog shit to work with, then when he gets it wrong, we also then have to realize, oh, he had dog shit to work with. Wrong. So it does cut both ways. I think it cuts 100%. Both ways. But I agree with you that it's not mutually exclusive. They can be tied into each other. But I think that's where sometimes we're getting it wrong, is we're saying he did this wrong, but then it's like, well, if you were in his situation, you probably would get it wrong.
Of course. Yeah. So I'm not saying it's all Antonio Conte's fault. I'm just saying,
I know.
it's a shit scenario, but there's blame. There's accountability across the park.
So we also have to understand as well. We're Tottenham Hotspurs. Most seasons we play in Europe, we go deep in the League Cup or the FA Cup and a 38-game league campaign. That's over 50 games a season, lads. At some point, Højbjerg is going to have to be dropped, and Harry Winks is going to have to come in because it's what we have. At some point, like we've seen already, Dier's going to get injured. Romero's going to get injured. You have to play Sanchez. Now, Conte doesn't want to play these in his best 11. But because of injuries, he plays them. And then all of a sudden, people are sitting there going, oh, it's his tactics. Oh, it's him not getting the best out of these players. But want to ignore the fact that every other manager that we've had over the last couple of years have all played different ways. Have all tried to get something out of them and ultimately have all failed. But then we expect the next guy to walk in and be able to all of a sudden just turn them into world class and get stuff out of them. What we need to realize and learn as a Spurs fan base, that when certain players play, we're going to get bet. They're going to cost us because of individual errors. But let's not sit there and go and talk about the manager. Until a manager has all the right tools to succeed and stuff like that, you're going to see these dip in form. You're going to see losses. You have to be realistic with it. Look at the manager, right? But no one turns around to Klopp or Guardiola and says, why haven't you got the best out of this crap? Why? Because they go into clubs where they just say, no, that player's crap. Go and get me a player that I know can play in my system. And, no one sits there going, why is Klopp not getting the best out of him? Why Guardiola not getting the best out of him? Because they're ruthless. They're just like, you're not good enough. Out you go. Get me in someone else that does. But yet then we expect managers of that same ilk to come in here and suddenly fucking tiddlewinks balls and get the best out of them.
Okay,
Dave, but would you rather, I was just going to say, would you rather play a half-fit Højbjerg or a fully fit Winks?
But what's playing a half-fit Højbjerg going to do when you need him for like, this is team? Yes,
I don't think he was half-fit. My point is, Højbjerg was still the right option over Winks. Anyone can see that.
No, I get what you're saying. But at the same time, after the Southampton game, how many people are sitting there crying about?
Yeah, everybody was calling for Harry Winks, though, James.
You can't have your cake and eat it.
Okay,
you can't sit there and complain about Højbjerg and then in the next game say, why didn't he play Højbjerg when he's half fit? You can't do that. You have to find some sort of balance and fairness along the way.
Everybody wanted Doherty and Winks
at some stage. These players have to be rested. You can't.
But Harry Kane is never rested. Harry Kane is never rested. Sonny is never rested. Right?
So he hasn't got the balls to do it, I don't think.
If you're going to make the argument that it's not Conte's fault, he has to play Winks because at some point he has to arrest Højbjerg. Like, at what point does Conte have the balls to say, Sonny, like, you're scoring a couple of goals, but mate, your first touch was awful in all the Chelsea games. It was awful against Arsenal. It was awful against Wolves. It was awful. Like, yes, you knocked a couple of goals in, but you know what? Stevie Bergwijn, maybe he deserves a chance after what happened at Leicester, after what happened at West Ham, right? But he never gets the chance. Just look like there's the same.
Because longevity, though, Shawnee. Longevity. Son has proven it over a longer period than what Bergwijn
does he not need a break?
World class, Bergwijn's not. Why would you? You're not going to drop your world class player. But to say they're not dropped is not true. They have been rested plenty of times during the Europa Conference League, plenty of times during Europe, during the League Cup and stuff. Now it's not their fault that they're called upon to come on and save the team's ass in some of the games, just like Højbjerg has been.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, if you're making the point that Højbjerg you have to play Winks because you have to rest Højbjerg.
Yeah, well, midfield's a total different engine. If you're asking someone to be a box-to-box midfielder, you use a lot more energy than what you do playing in Kane's position or Son's position. A hell of a lot more. It takes more out of your legs playing in the middle of the park. You're back and forth. You do the most running in the team. Of course, you're going to need a rest. You're not fucking Usain Bolt. You're not a professional sprinter, a professional runner. You're a football player at the end of the day. And of course, it's going to take its toll on your legs. It's the most active position there is to play.
Especially in the case of Højbjerg, who's played, I believe, more minutes of football in like the last year and a half than almost like any other player like in the world. Like, I think, to be fair, the guy has played like, what was it like over at the Euros and everything? Played something like 58 matches, like total 90s or something like that year. So I think you're right, Sean. Like, it does cut both ways with that argument as well. Like, then we need to start resting other players that also maybe are out of form, that also need like rest. But like in the case of midfield, I think in midfield, to be fair to Dave, is what he's saying. It's a whole different kind of beast.
Yeah,
and that's also suggests, maybe it suggests why, like in hindsight, like you were saying earlier, why in hindsight, we kind of now look at the market and we're like, why did we leave? Maybe why didn't we leave, even though they're all troublemakers, even though they're all shit attitudes?
One of them.
Why didn't we just leave one of them back?
No Celso.
Just in case. Just in case Skip is gone. Just in case Winks all of a sudden turns back into the Winks we know, etc. And I agree with you. The hindsight now plays that, but I agree with Dave. I think the midfield is a whole.
Yeah, it's a good
beast
point. It is
sometimes.
it's not definitely another.
Especially in Conte's system, we can tell because
it's good conversation
midfield,
though. No,
two-man midfield.
Good. No, it's a good conversation. That's what's needed. That's needed.
That's another thing.
Joseph says, for me, it's time to at least give these youngsters, players White and Devine, some minutes, as we are seeing many of them run down their contracts and leave. No, look, I've been a big advocate of getting some of these youth players in. Look, maybe the Premier League, where we are right now, is probably not the time to be doing it, but cup games, we certainly could have. But what I will say is hopefully that will change next season. Now that we've got some of the players that have been crap that we've been playing to put in the market, this, that, and the other. Now, hopefully, you will see a Devine, an Alfie White, or an Alfie Devine, or a Harvey White get into the team, give him minutes to prove themselves, Joseph. But big yourself up, my man. I really do appreciate the support. Sebas Wolf 28 says Conte should keep playing the same formation. Players need to get used to his way of playing. If we keep changing the formation, there won't be any consistency. Sean, what to say to Sebas Wolf?
Yeah, look, it's definitely a way of looking at it, Sebas Wolf. You know, it's like I say, you know, I'll just posit from my perspective. Like I say, I think that sometimes Conte, it's just my interpretation that Conte fits the squad around his formation, but then when injuries happen, he has to make the forced changes. And there is an argument to say that he should fit the formation around the squad. But you know, if he is the number one most expensive paid player and the highest quality thing in the highest quality member of staff in any position that has any direct control of the football, then his opinion should count. And if he wants to play that system, if he thinks that's the system that can get it, then you know the players should be able to adapt. It's not a one-way street. It flows both ways. If players are that good and want to be a part of the Conte Tottenham, then they should have to figure out how to adapt. I don't know what the answer is, Sebas. It's a good idea. It's a good perspective. Stick to one and see what happens. Or there needs to be more. There definitely needs to be more dynamism from somewhere. Either the players need to be more dynamic, or the manager does. At the moment, neither seem to be, and it seems to be like really kind of crippling our chances in some of the games.
Absolutely. Just quickly, completely agree with Sebas, completely agree. Maybe just to play devil's advocate to the other argument here, you could say that there are some world-class managers that have sometimes, to a degree, like adapted to the other team. Like in the first season, they don't just chop, they just don't chop and change everything. They kind of, keep some things that they think maybe work. They take some things from the previous manager. We see it under Bruno Lage. Like he doesn't want to play that 3 in the back system, but he knows that that's what those Wolves players are extremely used to. And so he is going to like make his own sort of identity using what was used before. So maybe just to play devil's advocate, Antonio Conte could technically do that with like a 4-2-3-1, a system that the players are extremely familiar with. He still puts his sort of spin on it, but I don't know. But Sebas, that was just me trying to be devil's advocate there, but I completely agree with you.
Oh, big up Sebas Wolf. Really appreciate the support, my man. Really appreciate it. Faz Radfire says, Sean, please get off Conte's back. We'll regret it if he leaves.
Yeah. Okay. Fair enough.
That was a polite way. That was a polite way of him saying, Sean, fuck off. That's
Faz Radfire's not like that. Faz Radfire's not like that, man. Jason Bell says, Conte's a great manager, but it's going to take time, perhaps a year, to get everyone playing a new system, even if he gets the players he wants. James, we'll throw this one at you, man.
Yeah, obviously there's no getting around that Conte is a world-class manager. Like I had a debate the other day, is he in the top 3 in the world behind maybe Pep and Guardiola? I think you've got to say he probably is. Maybe Tuchel comes in the argument at some points. And Jason's right here. It does take a lot of time to get used to a formation. Maybe we're starting to question it because of the recent form, but actually the 5 at the back, we kept a clean sheet in his first Premier League game against Everton. We did look more solid with that 5 at the back. The wing backs were working really well. Reguilón popped up with a goal against Leeds. Emerson's popped up with goals from right wing back. So that's what he likes, the wing backs contributing to the attacking play as well. And he's right. It does take time, especially as we will need to mould new players into it. Bentancur, Kulusevski, and obviously the new players that will come in the summer. So it's spot on. The project is you build a formation, you got to build players around it and put players in there that are coming from other clubs and being bought in. So Yeah, spot on. I just think maybe we have to give this 3-5-2 or 3-4-3 a chance. I think the only reason I did bring up about the Kane and Son thing is obviously you have to look and say, well, Kane and Son were firing on all cylinders with a 4 at the back. Do you utilize your assets? And that's the argument we just had. But I just think we have to stick with it and get the players we need in the summer.
Big up, Jason Bell, my man. Really, really do appreciate the support. Look, guys, we've 4 questions left, about 10 minutes left. Make sure everyone is smashing that like button, smashing that subscribe button if you are new. And like Jason Bell, like Faz Radfar, also like Sebas Wolf, guys, feel free to get your super chats in and really help support the channel. Now, guys, I only have a few minutes left, so I'm going to throw 4 questions left, so I'll just get the quick answers off you. Jack Spurs, our Sonny has scored 6 goals in his last 8 appearances against Man City in all competition, netting the winner in the reverse fixture of the opening weekend this season, compared to Kane's record of a goal every 473 minutes versus Man City. His worst of the 30 teams he has scored against in the Premier League, scoring just 2 and 11. Should Son be the man we are looking to put through on goal today? And should Harry Kane be used as a decoy?
Harry Kane used as a decoy. I think what really it's going to be is probably, to an extent, it's going to be quite similar to how Jose played against them. You try to win the ball back in certain areas, find Harry Kane's feet. Sonny then, his timing is run well, and Harry Kane can play the pass that no one else in the squad can play. And then you have in behind Son. I think it makes sense, Dave, that Sonny's, to be fair, he's almost like an assassin towards Man City. The guy is absolutely ruthless. And to be fair, I think the reason for it is just the fact that City play such an extraordinarily high line, and they do really dominate the ball. And so they can get caught off guard with a bit of, excellent timing and a bit of pace and a bit of class from Son and Kane. And kind of makes sense, actually, that maybe Harry Kane doesn't score as much against Man City because we don't really have very much of the ball against Man City. So you would probably say your quicker players, your players that you can use to actually, get up the pitch quickly, counterattack them. Harry Kane's not exactly going to be that guy for you. He's going to be that guy maybe holding up the ball to get that counterattack going, but he's not going to be the guy probably putting the ball in the back of the net at the end of the run. So I think it makes complete sense, Dave, that Sonny has been kind of the assassin for Man City, just because the way that Man City play probably makes Sonny, the most likely player that we'll be looking for.
No, absolutely. Sean, Spurs are one of the most effective counter-attacking Premier League teams, registering 15 shots from fast breakaways and scoring 3 goals. Only Arsenal with 5, West Ham and United both with 4 are the only sides to have enjoyed more success in the counter-attacking style. Is Son and Lucas's pace and dribbling ability the key to us being effective in this style of play? And would it be crucial that both actually do play today if we want to get a result?
Yeah, 100%. I mentioned it before. Like you can take your pick of whether you want to have Lucas in the 10 and do the break, the first guy to receive the ball from Bentancur or from Romero, and then turn and try and win the free kicks. Or you can swap that and have Harry Kane, because Harry Kane's equally good at drawing. Kane's amazing at drawing free kicks, and also he's more than comfortable being pressed as well. Right, he gets pressed from behind and he can just turn. He's fantastic. He hasn't got the pace that Lucas does. So for me, I'd rather have Harry Kane dropping and then the pace of Lucas and Sonny up front. That's the only way I can see us getting anything out of the game is to do the counter attack, like you said. The stats also call out for it. So 100% you need Sonny, 100% you need Lucas, and 100% you need Kane. But how you do that, I'll let the man Conte figure out. The right formation, but it's obviously going to be crucial that Sonny's got his shooting boots on, that Mora is, because Mora sometimes has the ability to go missing. Usually that happens when he's playing in a 3-4-3 and he's put out on the right hand side. When he's in the center, he's forced to get involved and he's usually bang on, and he loves playing against the big teams. He loves it in the big moment. And so I think that we can rest assured today that if we get the ball to that trio, then good things can happen. But really, it's obviously what happens when 80% of the time we don't have the ball. How well we handle that is really going to define our chances. But when we have the ball, when we can win it, Lucas, Sonny, and Harry Kane are going to be pivotal. So they have to play. Unfortunately, as much as I love Bergwijn and want him to start at some point and get a chance and a run of games, and Kulusevski, I've still got a lot of faith in him. I just don't think today is the day to use them at the start. Maybe bring them on if we need to later on. But for the start of the game, it's those three: Lucas, Sonny, and Harry Kane.
Yeah, spot on. Look, and this next question for James is why I think Lucas has to be kept in the team today. As a team, we do not press especially high, but Lucas has regained possession 16 times inside the final third this season, the most of any Spurs player. Could he be the key man to profit from counters and transitions and the key man to get us out of our half today, James? And is this why he continually gets picked, even though his lack of end product over Bergwijn? And is that the reason why he continues to get picked, because of those sort of stats?
Yeah, so when he was won the ball back 16 times in our final third or the other team's final third?
The other team's final third.
Oh, wow. Okay. He's a workhorse at the end of the day. And Sean's right. He does go missing at times. But when he's on his game, and he doesn't seem to normally have a good game against Man City, I've got the one in my head where he came on and scored from the corner in 10 seconds a couple of seasons ago. He does normally get fired up for these kind of games, and it kind of does suit Lucas Moura when we're playing. We're kind of soaking up the pressure. We're defending, and we're playing on the counter attack, and we're bombing the players forward. And I just think that Lucas Moura today, he has to try and draw fouls. It's a good point from Sean. He said it a couple of times. When he turns away and receives the ball, we need him running. We need to get the ball as far up the pitch as possible and not, have, say, I don't know, let's go Ben Davies giving it the ball back away in our own half again. We cannot have that. We have to be getting up the pitch because Man City are going to have 78% of the ball. So we have to be getting that ball. Lucas has to be retrieving it, getting up straight up the pitch, and then even if we win a throw-in on the halfway line, we're in a better position than if we piss about with it in the back five and the two midfielders, lose the ball again. And we saw it against Wolves where we lost the ball and they scored. Saw it against Southampton, we lost the ball in our own half and they scored. We can't be losing the ball in our own half. We have to be driving forward, and Lucas is the key to that, as well as obviously Son. And that's how we have to play today.
No, we definitely do. And Jack, last question for you, my man. 8 of Man City's 14 goals conceded in the Premier League this season have been from turnovers and counterattacks. So when we do win the ball, how important is it we strike at speed and go direct at them instead of trying to retain possession, like James was saying?
I mean, it's absolutely vital, and it's probably the blueprint that Nuno kind of had, Dave. I mean, the way that Nuno beat City, it wasn't like we were really dwelling on the ball or really, taking our time in possession. We were just taking any opportunity we could to, be able to counterattack them. And we seemed actually quite fine with losing it, in fact, in that counterattack, because we wouldn't send that many players forward. We basically just tried to hit them when they least expected it. We wanted maybe an extra midfielder for City to perhaps roam a bit too far. And then you play it to a player like Lucas or Sonny that can kind of catch them off guard. So it kind of makes sense, Dave. It's practically the best way to get behind Man City is to be able to just take advantage of that high line to play. I think over multiple seasons, I would say what's always hurt Man City are those long balls over the top. They seem to really always struggle with that, is because it's that whole fine line between, is Ederson going to come out and sweep it, or is the ball going to be that perfect where it ends up being like a one-on-one with Ederson? So I would say, Dave, I mean, there's the one blueprint that you can always beat Man City with is just counterattacking football, really, really deep defensive shape. And then you just hit them on the counter with kind of balls in behind to very, very speedy players.
Yeah. And we have to utilize this running and this pressing that Conte's instilled into the team today. Especially like Jack said, like they can sort of make mistakes at the back, and you can run onto those balls that they play back to Ederson because they try and get Ederson involved in this tiki-taka passing. You can run onto these, and they could make a mistake. That's how I can kind of see it today. If they make a mistake, is Ruben Dias or Laporte makes a dodgy pass back to Ederson, and Lucas and Son have got to be ready. If we're sitting back in our own half, we're never going to score.
Yeah. Spot on. Lazy 801, big up, Nick. I hope you're keeping well, man. Hope your first show went well last night. Says, big up, lads. Is the weather still crap out there? I'm worried about Emerson slipping around the pitch again. No, it's not too bad here, to be honest with you, lad. Emerson, look, I get it. I get what people are saying about Emerson, but look, he's better than Doherty in my eyes. He's got to play. I think he's better than Doherty. He gives us more going forward. He gives us better width, which is what the wingbacks in an Antonio Conte system is supposed to do. And to be fair, I know a lot of people got on his back. And look, I know the game against Southampton was absolutely woeful. But compared to the mistakes Sawyer and Doherty were making down that side last season defensively and how much they cost us, he's completely eliminated it. Not eliminated, but he's completely, eliminated a lot of the errors coming down from that side, shall we
or
say.
it's not as consistently happening. It's not happening on as consistent of a basis.
And I'll be honest with you. Look how much better he looks when he has Romero playing beside him. When Dier comes back in the centre, Romero's moved out there. Look how much better he looks, because at times Sanchez is caught higher up the pitch than him. It's like, why is Sanchez up there? He's centre back. He's supposed to be sitting in there. That if Emerson is caught out up high, he can come across and cover that. That's why he's there. But sometimes he's up higher than him. I don't get it, Nick. But look, we'll wait and see. What Emerson can bring to the team.
To Nick as well, for Darksun G, he has a better Hollywood face, Dave, as well. He has a better Oscar face, than Doherty does. When Emerson puts on that trying hard, look, it looks a lot better than Doherty's, to be fair. So he's winning on a lot of levels.
Yeah, he's probably good at poker. Yeah, probably good at poker.
Yeah, he does the really serious look a lot better than I think, Doherty does. So he's beating him in every way.
Wayne Bonner says, great stream, fellas. As always, Wayne Bonner, my man. I really, really do appreciate it, brother. Really appreciate the kind words and the support, my man. Thank you so much. But look, guys, there we have it. Everybody, make sure you do smash that like button. Make sure you do smash that subscribe button if you have enjoyed it. And feel free, to get in the super chat to show your appreciation. Just like Wayne had done there, while the boys are giving their score prediction and plugging the channel. And Wayne also says, Emerson is a right-sided centre-back in a 3-5-2. Do you know what? I wouldn't mind actually seeing that, to be honest with you.
Yeah, a lot of people have suggested that aren't Spurs fans. I've heard that from a lot of people. No, but I think it's because it's that outside, kind of outside the box sort of look. And it makes sense. It's just then who do you play out wide? Maybe then you shift maybe Bergwijn or something to like a wing back. Emerson plays right-sided center-back. I don't know. But yeah, I've heard that suggestion a lot from people that are smart people that aren't Spurs fans. So it does make sense.
No, spot on. But look, we'll let everyone quickly plug their channel and their score prediction, because I do have to end off and get over to We Are Tottenham TV. So James, my man, where can people find you and what's your score prediction?
Okay, yeah, people can find me over on Spurs Related, along with Andre and Joe as regular co-hosts. We provide all sorts of content, match reviews, match previews, and the one I'm looking forward to the most tomorrow is the quiz. Irish Hotspur, Jack and Dave up against Tottenham on tour. We prepared an absolutely brilliant quiz. It's going to be a fun night. So if things do go wrong today, the positivity is you got that to look forward to over on our channel tomorrow night at 7 p.m. Do not miss it. Honestly, if there's any reason to sub, like I said the other day, please get over there and watch Dave and Jack battle it out with Tottenham on tour. It will be a laugh. They've come on for another quiz before, and it was an absolute blast, and people seem to enjoy them. So get over there. That would be great. And score prediction, I'm going through a 2-2 Desmond today. 2-2 because I just think we may get an early goal. We may surprise a few. City might hit back. Then we're going to hit another one on the counter-attack. And then City might close it out late and get one. And then we'll be squeaky bum for the loss. But I think 2-2. I'm going with a positive 2-2. I'd love a point at the Etihad. And that would really fuck City's title, cruise mission over. And Liverpool fans will be... more than happy with that. And also, I've got to say, before I let Sean, go over to Sean, there's been 2 goals so far in the Premier League on the 3 p.m. kickoffs at halftime, both coming at the Amex Stadium from Burnley, who are beating Brighton 2-0. So don't write off Burnley for putting a good performance. I mean, you say that, but we've got them on Wednesday. So they're hitting a bit of form. So, I've heard Brighton are playing shit, though. So, maybe take it with a pinch of salt.
Yeah, Harry Potter, it doesn't surprise me.
I thought I'd get that one in there because I know you don't like Brighton.
But look, I don't have time to go into that fucking melon today. So, look, Sean, where can people find you? What's your score prediction?
You guys can find me at Spurs Talk Show, at Spurs Talk Show on Twitter, Spurs Talk Show on YouTube. It's a bit more, it's similar to every other channel. We still go through all the usual stuff, but we do try to have a bit more games and kind of light-hearted banter in there as much as possible. It's my channel, but I am at the moment just was like a little period whilst Kuva is taking a break from Tottenham Tantrum Gold. He's joining me as a co-host.
He's on a loan to buy. Is he on a loan to buy?
He's on a loan to buy. We'll see what happens. But
he's cooking again.
Spurs Talk Shows where you can find me, and but thanks ever so much, guys, for having me on. I love being on your channel as always. And today, as far as the prediction goes, I'm going to say 2-1. I said it. I'm keeping to my story. Had it yesterday on all the channels. 2-1 Tottenham. I think that we are going to sneak an early goal. They're going to get a sending off, and then they'll pull one back, and then hopefully we'll get a second.
I could see
the late stages.
Off. That's true.
Come on, Tottenham!
I love it. Come on! Let's have it. Jacko, where can people find you, my man, and score prediction?
theirishyid, everybody, released a video on the best talents outside of Europe's top 5 leagues. Just kind of nerded out with basically just talking about a bunch of players that basically no one's ever heard of, that maybe you should take a look at, that maybe also Spurs should take a look at. Champions League is also back, everybody, so the watch-alongs are going to be up and firing, especially next week. So do join me for all the watch-alongs with Champions League, especially if you just want to take your mind off of Spurs. Definitely head on over to the second channel. As far as my sort of prediction, Dave, honestly, 1-0 is honestly one of my favorite score lines. I actually love 1-0s. If I could have 38 1-0s injected into my veins, Dave, I would take it. I really would. I mean, they said that. We said that under Nuno, Dave, you know, at one stage, where will we go the rest of the season winning 1-0? And I said, I wouldn't even blink. I would take that every single day. I love a 1-0. Let's get repeat 1-0s against Man City, Dave.
No, I'd absolutely love it. I'd absolutely love it. But look, guys, there you have it, everybody. That's the Flat Cap Euro Talk. That's Spurs Talk Show. And that's Spurs related. 3 channels you must check out. You must get over and make sure you subscribe to. My score prediction, I'm going 2-1 Tottenham as well. Look, I don't think we'll keep a clean sheet, but I do think we could have enough to nick it on the counter. If we catch City quickly, that is. But look, guys, it's been an absolute pleasure. Really enjoyed this show today. A massive thank you to everybody that's tuned in. I want to say a massive thank you to everybody that's helped support the channel financially. It's a massive, massive help. And just a massive thank you to you guys out there, because these channels are absolutely nothing without your support. So I really, really do appreciate it. Those who want to see more of me, get over to We Are Tottenham TV. I'll be starting there in 10 minutes. You know, doing the pre-match build-up. Honestly, you're going to need a safety hat and a safety vest, because it really does get ramped up delusional for that last hour. You know, I do have to keep up to the safety code. So, you know, make sure you do get the hat. A massive... and as well, make sure you do tune back here at 5:15 for the watch along, where it be myself, Jack, and Sean for the watch along this evening, guys. So make sure you do tune in for that. See y'all back here at 5:15. Come on, you Spurs!
Come on,
Come on, you Spurs!
Don't say we trust.
Come on!